Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto leaves Konoha and parents alive part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Night. The moon was full as the night sky was as clear as glass. Unfortunately, for the people of Konoha, a night like this was not a night to enjoy since the night peaceful silence was instead filled with the noise of chaos that was going all around. Currently now, the Kyuubi was unleashing its fury all on the village, destroying homes and killing people. For the citizens of Konoha, they know what the Kyuubi was. It was a force of nature, a tremendous force of power which it can create tsunamis and destroy mountains with one of its 9 tails. Many wonder on how the Kyuubi was attacking their village. But for now, the village's shinobis were fighting with everything they have to stop the beast from destroying their homes and slaughtering their families. As the battle proceeded, the shinobis gained hope as their great leader appeared on top his summoned toad and landed on the Kyuubi. He was the 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze. As the Kyuubi was about to unleash another devastating blast of chakra, Minato used his famous Hirashi no Jutsu to teleport him and the Kyuubi away from Konoha to a secluded area about 10 miles away. It was then that all the shinobi of Konoha saw a strong and powerful explosion in the distance. With Minato, the Kyuubi blasted a powerful blast of its chakra at the area where Minato transported it to. Near the Kyuubi was Minato alone, and next to his side was his wife Kushina. As they saw the destruction caused by the Kyuubi, both Minato and Kushina heard the cries of their greatest treasure that they have. In Minato's arms he held the person that they love the most, more than each other right now. With them was their newborn son Naruto. Even thought Minato and Kushina were both happy their baby was alright. They both knew that if they don't stop the Kyuubi now, their precious legacy would die here and now. Minato knew what needed to be done, which he was prepared to do. Kushina also knew what needed to be done as well. She went first on the assault on the Kyuubi as Minato created the barrier to contain Kyuubi from escaping. Kushina unleashed her chakra chains on the Kyuubi to immobilize it. As Kushina held it in place, Minato noticed how weak Kushina was getting since she is now the former Jinchuriki of Kyuubi. So having the Kyuubi being ripped apart from her was leading to her death. She wanted to protect the two people that she loved the most by making sure the Kyuubi was gone for now. Minato saw what she was doing and decided to do on what he needed to do for not only for Konoha, but also for the future. He stopped Kushina before she starts to seal the Kyuubi inside her again. Kushina don't is the one who not made me Hokage, but a man and now a father to my son that you gave me. I can't let you die like this, stated Minato. But Minato, this is the only way IICC can be sure to save the both of you, gasped Kushina. Kushina tearful Minato. Didi don't cry, after all today is our son's birthday, the only thing I regret is not to be able to see him grow up, smiled Kushina. Minato was speechless as Kushina continued on, but thinking about it, all of us being one family, I couldn't be any more happier than that, smiled Kushina. Minato was silent for a moment, until he had a look of determination on his face. Kushina, save your strength, you're going to need that in order to see Naruto again, stated Minato. Kushina was confused until Minato said, I will seal your remaining chakra inside Naruto with the Hack Fuin. Then I will take the Kyuubi down with me with a jutsu that a non-Jinchuriki can use, Shiki Fujin, he stated while gently placing Naruto on the ground. Kushina was afraid of this because, if Minato used the Shiki Fujin, then he would die. But Minato thought back on what happened earlier tonight, and told Kushina on what he realized. It was because a masked man attacks Kushina that all this happened. He then thought about what Jiraiya said about the child of prophecy that he was told, and he believed now that it was his son since he was born in this moment of time as the masked man attacked Kushina to release the Kyuubi. He told Kushina that he would seal the yang half along with Kushina with the Hack Fuin, while he takes down the yin half with him in death. Minato started to create the hand sign, but before he could finish it, the Sandaime Hokage appeared behind him and knocked him out just before he finished the hand signing. Kushina was surprised to see the Sandaime here. Flashback. When Gamabunta landed on the Kyuubi, the Sandaime saw Minato getting ready to use his Hirashi no Jutsu to teleport them to another location, where the Kyuubi won't cause any more damage. The Sandaime quickly went to the Kyuubi and touched its back, just in time as Minato teleported them to the area. There, the Sandaime saw Minato putting up the barrier to keep the Kyuubi contained. The Sandaime was ready to help out Minato, when he saw him bring forth Kushina and, from what he guessed, his newborn son. He heard Kushina going to sacrifice herself to save Minato and Naruto, but the Satobi heard on what Minato said he was going to do, and overheard about the masked person attacking Kushina. Sarutobi heard on what Minato said and couldn't help but agree with the decision. Of course he had other plans since now he knew that Minato needed to live, as well as Kushina, so they can truly be with their son. The Sandaime was ready to use a special jutsu that he learned for such occasion like this ever came up. Unbeknownst to everyone, the third taught himself a bit of Fuin jutsu in cases of emergency. He decided to use the same jutsu as well on the Kyuubi to spare Minato, as well as use another jutsu that would save Kushina's life since he knew that their child would need them in order to one day be able to fight the masked man. End flashback. The Sandaime appeared and knocked out Minato with a nice chop on the back. Kushina was surprised to see him here. Kushina was about to ask him, but was silenced when the Sandaime said that he would perform the jutsu instead as well as save her life. Sarutobi-sama, why you can't th the village needs you, panted Kushina. No, the village needs Minato more since he is young, while Naruto not only needs his father, but needs his mother just as much. I overheard everything on what Minato said and I have to agree with this decision, but instead I would be the one to do it, stated the old Hokage. Kushina gasped in surprise, but before she can argue with him, the Sandaime spoke. Kushina, I'm old, I have just lost my wife because of the masked man. The only thing I could do now, as my final act, is secure the future for not only your son but for also the next generation, which you and Minato must help lead by raising your child, he stated as he started to perform the seals. The Sandaime unleashed the power of Shiki Fujin on the Kyuubi. He ripped apart half the Kyuubi's soul and sealed within himself. The Sandaime was amazed on how powerful it was since it numbed his body. As the Sandaime sealed the half of its soul inside him, Kushina made her way to Minato and got a bit of his blood to perform the summoning jutsu. She was able to summon Gamatoru, the sealing toad, to the battlefield. The Sandaime saw this and thought it was good timing, since he is running out of chakra himself because he started the hack Fuin. The toad was surprised to be summoned like this. The Sandaime explained on what was happening, and gave him the key to the Kyuubi's seal. He accepted and went to Jiraiya to hide and explain the situation to him on what just happened. Once it was done, the Sandaime was ready to seal the rest of Kyuubi into Naruto. With that, the Shinigami, who had both the Sandaime and Kyuubi souls, was ready to devour both of them into his stomach, where they would battle for all time. But before that, the Sandaime used the last of his strength to perform one last jutsu, which he used the last bit of strength to heal Kushina's body from the Kyuubi being extracted from her. Kushina would now live, which was good timing since the Sandaime saw Minato starting to wake up. With this I can leave both Konoha and the future to this family, since I know that they can shape and lead the next generation to a brighter future when the time comes, thought the old Hokage as he died. Kushina was saddened that the Sandaime died in front of her eyes, but she was also very grateful to him since he not only saved her life, but her family as well as all of Konoha. She saw Minato starting to stir. As she did, she heard her son sleeping peacefully. She couldn't be any happier to know that she and Minato can be with their son. They can be a family from now on. She quickly struggled herself to get to her young son, so she can bathe him in her warmth and keep him from getting cold. Of course, her feelings of happiness for her family didn't last for long since a strange light appeared around her son. Kushina gasped and tried to move quickly to get to him. But before she can reach him, he disappeared in a flash of white light. As Minato began to rise after the Sandaime knocked him out, he heard his wife starting to cry. She was crying for the disappearance of her baby. Minato quickly went to her and asked Kushina on what happened, which she told him that their baby disappeared in a holy white light. As reinforcements arrived, both Kushina and Minato just looked into the night sky and cried in tears, knowing that their family was incomplete. As the shinobi gather and take the Sandaime back to Konoha, Kushina made a silent prayer for her son being safe. Night. It was a calm night, with the world at peace as everyone slept in Wales, England. In a solitary village, a family of 3 was sleeping peacefully until they heard the cries of a baby coming outside. The mother of the 2 young boys came out with her son staying inside their house, which their mother told them. When she came out of her small house, she walked for a bit, following the cries of what sounded to her was, indeed, a baby. After walking for a few moments in the open grassy plain area behind her house, she spotted a crying baby on the ground. She quickly ran towards the crying infant to see that it was a baby boy, a newborn from what she can tell. She quickly took her blanket that she used to cover herself to keep herself warm, and covered the infant boy from the cold. Once she got him, she quickly calmed him down while taking him to her home. Once inside, the mother sat in a rocking chair with the baby in her arms. After calming him down, the mother couldn't help but wonder why a person would leave a cute baby boy, but then saw the red aura that was starting to surround him for a bit before dissipating. After seeing the red aura, it was then that she started to believe that this child was more than what he appears to be, even if she doesn't know what it was yet. Before she can try and figure it out more on this baby, her 2 sons, who were awakened from the baby's crying, came up to her to see the child. "Hey mom, who's the baby?" asked her oldest son with brown hair. I don't know, sweetheart, but I do know that he is special, answered the mother. Really? Why's that? Asked her youngest with red spiky fallen hair, in a 2-year-old gibberish way. Because he is both your new little brother, cheerfully replied the mother. Our little brother, both boys replied. Yes, I'm going to adapt him, okay, said the mother. So what are we going to ring up our new baby brother? Asked the older brother of the now 3 brothers. Thomas Springfield, is that all right, Nagi? Smiled the young mother as she looked at her second youngest son. Nagi smiled as he looked at his new baby brother, unaware on the red aura that was surrounding his new baby brother. 12 years later. Right now in his office, the yondaime was working and reading some documents. As he read them, his mind would sometime wander from his work to his family. He looks at the pictures that were on his desk. As he looked at them, he could help but think on what has happened over the years. 3 days after the Kyuubi attack, the yondaime announced on how the Kyuubi was defeated by the great Sandaime Hokage by sacrificing his life in exchange for saving his life. He decided not to announce that the Kyuubi was sealed inside his sons, since for all he knew, Naruto might be dead by now. As the funeral for the Sandaime and the shinobi, who bravely fought the Kyuubi, completely finished, Minato turned to other situations that were around him, like repairing the village. After a few years of working and rebuilding, Konoha was once again back to its original form. During those years, the village was starting to prosper very well, especially on what happened after 5 years of working. The yondaime couldn't help but look at the picture next to the picture where he and pregnant Kushina was in. Next to it was Kushina holding on to a baby in her arms. Except this baby was a little red-headed girl. Even though they decided not to have another child because of Naruto, fate decided to give them another chance for Kushina and him to start a family with Erika, his now 7-year-old daughter. Another thing that happens was the Uchiha clan massacre, which happened when he was away on a day vacation. Minato and Kushina decided to take Erika away from Konoha to spend time together at the beach. They decided to stay until the next morning, which he told the council that he would leave his former student Kakashi in charge of all shinobi and village matters until his return. When he came back home, Kakashi immediately informed him about the massacre. Kakashi explained that he saw a lack of security near the Uchiha compound, since many has reported that they haven't seen none of the Uchiha clan police officers in the night. When he sent some shinobi to check on the premise, they only found Sasuke alive, while the rest of the clan was murdered. Sasuke explained that it was his older brother Itachi that killed them all. Minato was stunned about this development, since he was away when all of this happened. News about the Uchiha clan massacre all but gone hit Konoha hard, along with their enemies who took it in their own stride. When Minato heard of it, he quickly asked Kakashi and some of his most loyal Umbu to investigate it, since somewhere in his mind, he thought that something was off. As Minato thought about what has happened, he couldn't help but think about his long-lost son. Even though he declared Naruto dead, in the back of his mind, he thought that he was alive. This was even more so since Kushina was convinced that Naruto wasn't dead, since she can feel it in her heart. Minato thought that it was maternal instinct about it, but he knew never to question a bond between a mother and her child. He even asked his most trusted people to look for him, or to find some clue to help bring him back home: Jiraiya, Tsunade, Kakashi, etc. His thoughts were interrupted when he remembered that in a few days, the Genin graduation exam will commence. As he thought about the exam, he couldn't help but think of his own son. He believed that his son should be in this exam like the others in his age group. As he thought about it, someone else was thinking the same thing. Namikaze's mansion. Currently making lunch for a little girl and her husband that was going to arrive for his meal soon, was Kushina. Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, the wife of Minato Namikaze, the yondaime Hokage. She usually spends her time between home and working in the hospital as a nurse, to sometime teaching future kunoichi in the academy. As she cooked, she couldn't help but see her playful daughter Erika running around the backyard. Kushina just watched as Erika played with one of the summoning toads that Minato summoned for her. As Kushina watched, she also kept her guard up, since one time when Erika was young, an IWA assassin was able to sneak inside Konoha and almost killed Erika if Kushina hadn't sensed the person in the last minute. As Kushina looked on, she couldn't help but imagine that the toad was her son, Naruto, playing with Erika instead. She often wishes that Erika would have her older brother to look up to. She remembered all the nights that she would sometimes stay awake until it was the middle of night to early morning, just to look out into the glimmering stars, hoping her son was watching the same thing. She remembered all the prayers that she made before going to sleep, since deep in her heart, she can still feel her son was still alive, growing up stronger and stronger within her every day. As she looked on at Erika, she felt like something was going to happen soon, something that would change everything. Sunset. Right now, the sun was starting to set into the horizon to bring in the evening stars. However, the setting sun, which would bring about the beauty of the night stars, was only showing of the battle that was about to come. In an island, there was an army ready and waiting to attack against the enemy of the world. The only thing that wasn't ordinary from any kind of battle on Earth is that this battle isn't on Earth. The battle to end the war is in a magical world, where dragons, people with animal characteristics live, along with mages. This battle was against the organization that is trying to destroy the magical world and its residents. Leading this magical army was a hero to both human and magical creatures in the army. He was known as the most powerful mage, the one with countless spells. He was Nagi Springfield, but better known as the Thousand Master. He was currently assessing the last stronghold of the organization, Cosmo Antelikia. He was looking over the enemy stronghold, also known as Ostia's Royal Castle, the Great Keeper's Palace. Not only was he looking at it, he was waiting for the rest of the magical army to show up. Along with him were his most trusted friends who not only fought with him by his side, but were also known to be the most powerful men in the world, known as the group called Ala Rubria. With him were his good friends, master of the Shinmiria style of swordsmanship, Kono Aishin. Next was Al, a masterful mage of mystery. His master that looked like a kid but in fact over a 200-year-old demon, Zekt. The next was one of two people to be his eternal rival, the man that is known to be invincible throughout the world, the legendary swordsman mercenary, Jack Rockin. Finally, his second rival, who not only at his LV, but is also his adapted younger brother, a young boy of 17 years of age who is not only known as the True Thousand Blades, but also a master of the Shinmiri arts of swordsmanship but also called the Elemental Master, Thomas Springfield to most, but to his family and friends he is known as Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto wore clothing that were similar, if not resembling, to Nagi's. The only difference was that he wore loose, baggy navy blue jeans, wore a short-sleeve orange shirt, a yin-yang pendant in a whirlpool design around his neck as well had a clay-tempered Japanese samurai sword where he held it with his left hand, not to mention that the handle was extra strengthened cause of the grip that Naruto uses. As all of them watch on, Nagi broke the silence of the calm before the storm. "They're so damn quiet, it's almost creepy," said Nagi as he looked down at the castle. "Well, they'll be underestimating us, that is what evil organization do, bro," said Naruto. It was then that one of the military personnel came up to Nagi and the others to report that the army is ready, which Nagi gave instructions. They then contacted another member of their group to organize the rest of the army, which sadly aren't here yet. Al looked worried as he said, "I'm afraid there isn't any time to make any delayation. We'll just have to make do with what we got." "The time limit is upon us," replied Ain Shun. "Indeed, the enemy has already begun the ceremony to return this world into nothing. The Twilight Imperial Princess, key to the world, is in their hands," said Al. "Yes," said Nagi. Nagi then said, "All right men, let's," before being interrupted by his little brother Naruto. "Nagi, wait." "What is, bro? We don't have time to wait," said Nagi. "I know that, but before we go just remember what we are here to do. I know you have a personal agenda on freeing the little princess, as do I, but that is not your only agenda here. Remember that we're here not to just save the princess, but also to save the world from their plan. Remember that we need to stay focused in order to stop the ceremony from being unleashed. You understand?" As Naruto looked at his friends, "If we aren't careful, the enemy will use that one moment of our ignores to defeat us, so let's fight with everything we have and leave everything on the table since the enemy might have a trick or two." "All right," said Naruto. "He's right, let's go in, but let go in cautiously with everything that is in the line, we can't make a single mistake," replied Aishin. "Got it," answered Nagi, before thinking about the princess and Naruto's words. "All right men, let's move," Nagi yelling out the order to attack the Great Keeper's palace. With that, Nagi led the magical army for one last battle to end this war. Konoha. It has been a couple of weeks since the Genin graduation exam. Right now, Minato was dealing with Team 7 led by Kakashi on giving them another D-rank mission, but of course, he had to deal with Team 7's supposedly special team member, Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke was arguing with the fourth on giving him a harder mission. This action was only supported by Sasuke's fangirl, Sakura Haruno, who is also agreeing with Sasuke. Minato disputed with Sasuke, but his former student, Kakashi, said that it would be alright to give them a higher mission for them. Minato sighed, which he then decided to agree to Kakashi's request. "Alright, if you think they're ready to take on a higher mission, Kakashi, then you're on," said Minato. This pleased Sasuke since he was getting tired on these low D-rank missions. Team 7 looked at the Yondaime, seeing him decided on what kind of mission that they can get. "Alright, I have a simple C-rank mission. It's a bodyguard mission to a client," said Minato. Team 7 wondered on who they will be guarding, which Minato answered their curiosity when he brought out the client. He was an elder man with gray hair and beard, along with the fact he kinda looked overweight. His name was Tazuna, a bridge builder, the one who is hiring Konoha Nin to protect him from bandits and make sure that he finishes making a bridge. So these brats are going to protect me. Some protection, they look pathetic, said Tazuna. This made the genin irk, except Sai, who showed no emotion about it. Kakashi then replied, "Don't worry, these guys can handle a couple of plain bandits, and if anything, I'll be there to handle the rest." With this, Kakashi ordered his squad to get ready to leave the village, while Tazuna went to the gate for their arrival. As Team 7 left the office, Minato couldn't help but had that strange feeling again, like he did a couple of weeks ago. As he thought about it, he saw the wind change, like it was signaling him that something was coming. It was made even more ominous when the ink he uses to write down the documents made a bit of spill, but resembles that of the Uzumaki symbol. Gravekeeper's Palace. Currently, at an open platform, outside one of the palace's towers, Nagi held his opponent by his neck after the intense battle that he had with him. "Magnificent, your strength is truly ludicrous," said enemy. "The Twilight Imperial Princess, where is she? Answer me that before you die," Nagi ordered as he panted from the battle. Hey, don't tell me you are still under the foolish impression that I am the one behind all of this," said the enemy as he saw Nagi's comrades come out of the building that the battle had taken place. What? Questioned Nagi. Before Nagi could ask, Naruto saw something out of the corner of his eye and yelled, "Brother! Watch out!" in fear. The next thing Nagi knew, he and the enemy he was holding was shot through the gut by someone. His friends came immediately to help him out, but then noticed that the person that shot Nagi was getting ready to fire another powerful blast at them. Everyone put up their own powerful barrier or defense to block the incoming attack. At that moment, a huge blast of magical power was fired at them, as big as a 3-story building. They tried to defend against it, but were taken down. Once the blast died down, everyone was on the floor completely injured from mild to serious injuries. Raken, for example, has lost both his arms from the blast as he tried to hold it back. In that moment, when the smoke cleared, the mastermind of the war made his grand appearance, which he came to the stage of the battle. He wore a black cloak that covers everything about him. He looked like the British style of royalty Grim Reaper. He was called the Life Maker or Mage of the Beginning. Everyone was frozen in fear, but despite all that, only 2 rose to meet the challenge that fell upon them. Nagi, with all his serious injuries, was the first to stand and prove his legendary status as the Thousand Master. Closely following Nagi's determination, the second was his younger brother, Naruto. Naruto, with his sword in hand, stood right beside Nagi, ready to prove why he was called the Elemental Master or the True Thousand Blades. As they stood, the others who are still down, looked up to see them ready to fight, even with the injuries that they have. Nagi, with most of his serious injuries, were located at his right arm, bleeding badly, along with the hole in his gut. Naruto had lighter wounds, a bleeding forehead, arms with bruise and scrapes, but his left arm was the most serious since it had more deep gashes where blood ran down from it. "You can't! Nagi! Naruto! In both your states," Ul said before Nagi interrupted him. "I'll use all the magic you have left to heal the both of us." "But a ridiculous healing like that would," said L. "It only needs to last us for 30 minutes, replied Naruto. Al was about to protest about it, but then Nagi and Naruto's master Zect stood up beside them to join the fight against the Life Maker. But before that, they noticed that the ceremony was starting to activate. Things were grim, until Naruto spoke up. "Guys, I'll go where the ceremony is taking place. I'll see if I can buy us some time to stop the ceremony. Unfortunately, that means that you two would have to face this bastard by yourselves," said Naruto. "No prob, bro, you find the ceremony and try to take care of it, we'll deal with him," replied Nagi. "The two of you can't possibly face him alone," yelled out Al. "If we don't defeat this guy here and now, then the world will be reducing to naught. We don't have any other choice," said Zect. "Nagi, wait. It's no good, this guy is on whole other LV. You'll die. We have to regroup for now," said Raken before Nagi interrupted him. "Oh, come on. This is like you, Jack. We won't make it if we hang around doing nothing," said Nagi. After which he declared that he would defeat the mastermind no matter what. With that, Nagi and Zect went to fight the Life Maker, while Naruto, using the distraction that both Nagi and Zect provided, to go inside the palace to try and stop the ceremony that was already taking place. For 10 minutes, Al and Raken heard the noise of battle between Nagi and Zect against the Life Maker at the same time. They were relieved to see that Naruto was slowing down the ceremony on the destruction of the world. With this, they were buying some time in order to stop this. After a few more minutes, everyone was shocked to see that Nagi defeated the Life Maker in a fantastic display of lightning power. After a few moments of waiting, Al got a telepathic communication from Nagi. "Hey Nagi, honestly you never cease to amaze me. Exceeding my expectations every single time," said Al. "Now for the princess, no more importantly the ceremony. I've defeated their leader, but during the battle, Naruto told me that they already led the ceremony. Naruto is currently using whatever he has left to try and slow it down, especially since his wounds open up again. We don't have much time till Naruto finally gives in and falls," telepathically said Nagi. "What? They've completed? And Naruto is using whatever strength he has left trying to delay its activation, but with his injuries reopening at this rate," Al said before he was interrupted when he felt a power increase of some kind. Just then, they saw the ceremony's spell starting to unleash in a bright orb of light that was like being in a tornado that was just growing in power. It was this that Al knew that Naruto had finally given in to fatigue and stopped his delay tactic. Al was thinking that it was over, but then overheard Princess Erika. It was then that Al and Rakken knew that the main fleet that was being led by both Princess Erika and Princess Theo. They ordered their soldiers to create a barrier to stop the ceremony. All of a sudden, their barrier collapsed, which indicated that there is something else in the ceremony. They all thought it was over until they heard a telepathic message from Naruto. "Guys, I just looked at the ceremony seal and inscriptions. Apparently, they are not only using ceremony itself, but also using elemental magic to help increase the ceremony's power to stop any sealing process. In that case, all forces create a barrier again, but this time also uses whatever type of element seal you have to stop it," ordered Erika. As the magical army tried to stop the ceremony, they found that it wasn't slowing down. They were wondering on what was going on. They knew that they only had a few moments left before the ceremony is unleashed. "Guys, you need to use all of the elements at the same time and be in sync in order to accomplish the sealing," said Naruto. "Be in sync, but that's impossible given in our state. In order to sync the elements together like this, it's impossible to do it now," said L. "Not if you use me as the catalyst for the seal," said Naruto. They were shocked on what Naruto just said. All of a sudden, they heard a large blast coming where the ceremony was taking place. It was then that Nagi, Al, Rakken, and Ainshun watched as Naruto flew high up into the sky with no fear in his eyes. Naruto flew higher, above the glowing light. As he was flying, he heard his friends telepathically yelling at him. "Wait, Naruto! There has to be another way," said L. "There isn't time, Al. This is the only chance we have left," said Naruto. "If you try to channel all that power through you, you'll die," said Rakken. "I know," stated Naruto. "Erika, Theo, do it. Use me for the seal now that we still have a chance," yelled out Naruto. Erika and Theo gripped the guard rails of their ships in frustration since they grew to like him as their friend. "Erika, remember what we came here to do. Now do it," yelled out Naruto in frustration. With that, Erika yelled out, "All forces unleash the seal as well as an elemental seal and focus all on the elemental master, Thomas Springfield." Princess Theo also unleashed the same order. The army unleashed the seal with the addition of the element seal. Naruto was prepared and could sense the seal's magic about to reach him. He closed his eyes, prepared for his greatest act. He then heard Nagi call out to him telepathically. "Wait, brother! Don't do this!" "It's alright, bro. I am making this decision on my own terms. Consider this as saying thank you for taking me in and making me part of your family for when I was taken from my first. Also tell Erika-san I'm sorry I couldn't be there at your wedding," smiled Naruto. At that moment, Nagi watched in pain and sadness as the seal connected with Naruto, and he screamed in pain. "Brother!" yelled out Nagi. The sealing of the ceremony was completed. Everyone watched as the brave young man, making the ultimate sacrifice for them. In an amazing show of bright and flashing light, the seal was created and held together, which stopped the ceremony that could have destroyed the magical world. Once it was over, Al and Rakken saw something fall. In a great speed falling down, the members of All Arubra saw Naruto's sword strike the ground, blade first. Nagi came walking towards his brother's sword, which is the last thing that he had of him. Naruto POV. Right when the seal struck him, he gathered whatever magical power he had left to harmonize all the elemental magic together to synchronize them. He felt so much pain when the sealing spell was activated on him that what felt like an eternity only lasted a few seconds. Once it was done, he then felt like he was floating in an endless void. So this is it. This is how it ends for me. At least I was able to outdo my brother for once. Naruto smiled in thought. Too bad, I wish I could have seen the look of shock on Nagi's face. It would have been a pleasure to see him so surprised like this, said a mellow voice. I would have settled on finally outdoing both my brother and Raken on our rival matches, Kurama, said Naruto to the Kyuubi. Naruto, are you going to be okay? I know at this moment that we don't have much time to live yet. I wish you could have seen your parents for once in your life, said another mysterious voice. I'll be alright. I'll be able to see them again. After all, where we are going, everyone will be going to the same place in the afterlife. I will wait for them when the time comes, Sarutobijiji, said Naruto. Naruto was mentally talking with the Kyuubi and the Sandaime Hokage. He knew about them for a good few years now, thanks to his family and friends. Naruto, my time is drawing near. With you having little magic power left, my spirit can no longer stay in this plane anymore, but even so, I have to thank you, cause through your eyes, I was able to see a whole new world beyond my imagination, a world of possible peace and tranquility, even if it was for a short time, said the Sandaime Hokage as he began to fade. See ya, old man, I'll be following you in a moment, alright, said Naruto. The Sandaime disappeared in front of Naruto as he too began to drift towards someplace. He looked to see a bright light getting bigger and bigger, driving the darkened void that was surrounding him for a while. As he began to go through it, he felt like he will be at peace now. Nami no Kuni. Currently, Team 7 was fighting off Zabuza, the demon of the mist. Earlier he and Kakashi had fought against each other, but were now imprisoned by Zabuza's water prison jutsu. After Kakashi was captured, Sasuke and Sai had no choice but to free Kakashi, since without him, defeating Zabuza would be impossible. Zabuza unleashed his water clone jutsu at Team 7. As Kakashi watched on as Sai and Sasuke tried to deal with the clone, with Sai having better luck than Sasuke, he thought that the situation was very grim. At that very moment, everything changes. Above them, everyone heard what sounded like lightning and thunder, or a mixture of the two. They all looked up to see a vortex of some sort appearing above Zabuza and Kakashi. Everyone wondered what was going on, but then as quickly as it came, it disappeared. As it was disappearing, something fell out of it. That something was a person, with a hood covering the face, as he fell towards Zabuza. Zabuza's attention was focused on the person that was falling down on top of Kakashi, and him that he didn't notice a kunai was coming straight at him until it was at the last moment. The person dropped into the water as Zabuza's attention was back at his opponent. He saw the kunai coming at him, which he saw that it was Sakura taking the advantage of the situation. With Zabuza momentarily distracted, the clone also dispersed, along with Zabuza's water prison jutsu stopping and freeing Kakashi. As the commotion of the falling person, Naruto himself was also having some strange thoughts on what's going on. I thought in death I should feel no pain, and yet I still feel so sore. Plus, why am I underwater? Am I going to drown while being completely in pain or something? As he sinks deeper and deeper into the darkness of the bottom of the water, he felt a hand grabs his and started to pull him away from the dark depths to the surface of light. It was then that he just fainted from exhaustion. Tazuna's house. Currently in a bedroom, Kakashi was laying down on a futon on the second floor of Tazuna's house. Lying next to him, about a meter away, was Naruto. But unlike Kakashi, he was bandaged up and still out cold. After Naruto fell into the water, Kakashi immediately rescued him from drowning. He then saved Sakura from Zabuza's sword strike, while carrying Naruto under his left arm. Kakashi then pushed back Zabuza to give them some space. Kakashi placed Naruto near the shore, which he ordered his team to not only protect Tazuna, but also help the unconscious person, whose face was hidden because of his hooded cloak. Once Team 7 drags the person to shore, Kakashi then focused his attention on Zabuza. He used his Sharingan to copy Zabuza's movements, which he was able to get the upper hand. Right before Kakashi could finish him, Zabuza was killed by a Mizu Hunter Nin. Once the Hunter Nin took Zabuza's body, Kakashi's team immediately came up to him, while he walked towards them. But it was also then that the effects of Sharingan took its toll on Kakashi and knocked him out. Team 7 decided to take Kakashi to Tazuna's house to get some rest. But before making that decision, they looked at the person that was lying before them. Sakura took a closer look at him, but once she touched his body, she felt something warm on his left arm. She thought it was his arm trying to warm up again from being in the cold water, but when she looked at her palm, she saw that it was blood and that he was breathing shallow. After deciding on what to do, they took him to get him some medical attention. Once in the house, they took Kakashi to the second floor to rest, the same with Naruto, who they don't know, to start some medical stuff. Sakura knew a bit of medical knowledge from the academy, while Tsunami, who also knew a bit of medical knowledge, helped in bandaging the person. They stripped him of his clothes to see that he was young blonde spiky hair teenage boy. As they stripped him down, Sakura couldn't help, despite the situation he was in, he was quite attractive. Tsunami quickly saw that his left arm was completely bruised and bleeding badly, along with bleeding forehead, and open deep wound on his right side. Tsunami and Sakura did all they can do and bandage above his waist, and hope that he can pull through his own strength. Evening. It has been a day since the battle with Zabuza. Kakashi woke up early evening from his fight with Zabuza. As he looked around, he saw that Sai was watching him. Once Kakashi was awake, he looked around his environment to see that the person that, unintentionally, saves him was here and out cold from the serious injuries that he could see. After gathering Team 7, with Tazuna, and discussing the battle between Zabuza, as well as the likelihood that Zabuza is alive, Kakashi informed them that he would train them in order for them to prepare on fighting Zabuza again. Sasuke grinned on the thought of having another chance to fight Zabuza again, while Sakura looked kinda worried. Sai didn't really care or that how his face said about him. Now, since Zabuza is out of the picture for the time being, I'm now more interested in finding out on who that person lying next to me is, said Kakashi, as he once again looked at the young teenager. This time he was more detailed on looking at him. Kakashi saw the boy that he had blonde spiky hair and tan skin. He would have liked to get a more accurate look on him, but his face had a few bandages on, along with the bedsheets that cover his body, one on his cheek and another around his forehead. He can also tell that the boy was also strong since his body was well built. Negima ch. 238. pg. 2 to see Naruto's body features. Of course, he can also see some of the bandages that were on his body. After examining the boy, he looked at his team. Were you able to find out anything about him while you were treating him? Asked Kakashi. Not yet, since I only helped with some of the bandaging above the waist, while Tsunami looked and bandaged the rest of his body since she saw that he had a few more bruises on him. I did ask Tsunami to give me his clothing so we can check if he had anything on him, answered Sakura, which she brought to Kakashi a few pieces of paper that looked like letters, which some were old and new, a pendant, and his boots. So that's all you've been able to find? What about his clothes? Sasuke asked. Yeah, that's all I found in his clothes. Tsunami put some spare clothing on him before washing his clothing since it was dirty and had dried blood on it, answered Sakura until she snapped her head up a bit. Oh wait, Tsunami said as she was checking on him that he shouldn't be called a boy for some odd reason while she blushed a bit. Other than that, there was nothing else she saw on him, Sakura said. HMIC, answered Kakashi, as he thought about the boy and the mystery that surrounded him. Sai looked at the boots to see if there was any hidden compartment, while Sasuke looked at the pendant, which brought his curiosity up since it was the yin-yang, but in a way that it was a whirlpool design. Sakura looked at the letters to see that it had some unique way it was made it. The letters, written in Latin, had two black horizontal and vertical lines near each edge. Above the letter had strange writing that was written horizontally, and had many of the strange writing going down. In the center was like a circle with strange symbols. Near the circle was a mute button, a play button and stop button symbol, which she doesn't know. Sakura continued to look at the letters until she'd accidentally touched the play button on the oldest looking letter. When she touched it, a holographic image appeared in front of her. What is this? Yelped Sakura. Everyone turned to look at the letter that she dropped to see the image of an attractive white-haired woman that looked to be at her early 30s. She wore a white, long-sleeve dress that went down her body until it started to fade from the image it had. Just before they questioned on how an image appeared from a letter, the person in the letter started to talk. Hey sweetie, how is your training coming along? Even though I know you can take care of yourself by now, I can't help but be a bit overprotective of you since you're still so young, but as your mother I can't help it. I recently have gotten a letter from your older brothers as well. They seem to be doing pretty well, despite their being busy from what I gathered, especially with Nagi with what has been happening with him lately. I hope you send me a letter soon. Have fun and stay safe while you train. Bye, my little sunshine, said in a sweet heavenly voice, but with a strange accent. It was then that the letter stopped and the image disappeared. As everyone stared at it, they couldn't help but wonder on how it spoke and from such a little thing. How did it do that? There is no way that a letter can have images appeared out of nowhere, but this one has images and it talked too, asked Sasuke. Sai went to the letter to press the play button again to see that it was playing the same message as before, meaning that it was a recording. Sasuke picked another older looking piece of letter. He presses the same play button on the other letter. Another image appeared. Instead of the same woman, a young handsome preteen boy with red spiky hair going down that looked to be as old as Sai or Sasuke. When Sakura looked at him, she couldn't help but think that this guy was even more attractive than Sasuke. Hey little bro, I got your letter the other day. I was amazed that you not only went to India but made past the Himalayas into China. But I'm more amazed that you actually found someone to teach you martial arts as well as basic swordsmanship. That's great, but hey, once you've gotten a little older or when you've gotten stronger, come and meet up with me. I'm sure Aishin, here, can help you train more in swordsmanship. With the same British accent. He was then interrupted by an older person that looked like he was 15 or early 20s appeared next to him. He looked straight-laced and serious, with short, spiky hair and brown eyes. His face was narrow, but still looks handsome, even with glasses. He wore a black long-sleeved sweater and finally what looked like brown pants. Wait, what do you mean train him? I'm not going to take your 8-year-old little brother as my apprentice just because you say so, Nagi. Annoyed Aishin. Don't be such an old bat, I just meant that you just show him some of your fighting style moves and spar with him to get better, that's all. I'm not asking you to train him in everything you know, just things that you are willing to show him. Nagi cheerfully said. Nagi then apologized with hand signals and then said, Anyway, I'm still not sure about Aishin on helping you with your swordsmanship, but I know that my master, Zekt, would help you out on getting stronger, right, master? Sure, why not? I don't mind torturing another soul, said a mysterious, but young voice. Nagi laughed nervously, but then looked at straightforward again. Well then, hopefully, the next letter I get from you would be soon. See ya, little bro. Oh, P.S. Careful with those girls over there, since like me, you seem to attract girls wherever you go. By now Thomas finished speaking. Once the letter was done, the miniature projection stopped as well and back to normal slip of paper. Kakashi and the others were now getting somewhere since they now gotten a few clues. First was that this letter was a couple of years old, and that this teenager was 8 years old when he gotten it, almost 10 years ago they guessed. Second was that he was training for something, which they know that it was something with taijutsu and swordsmanship in a place that they don't know. Third was that he had an older brother, but they don't look like each other, while the white-haired woman and the red-head teenage boy did with something things. Finally, the final clue was his name, Thomas. As they were thinking, Sakura decided to get more answers from the 2 final letters. She pressed the play button to see that it was the redhead, but older now, like nearing 18 to 19-year-old. Hey bro, listen, I know that things lately have been going hard on all of us, but now is not the time to be soft. We have important work to do. Once you completed your work, come and meet up with us at the capital. Well, use the information that you were able to gather to unlock the mysterious of Cosmo and Telekia. Okay bro, see you soon. Serious, said Nagi. As they thought about it, their thought were on, who was Cosmo and Telekia, since they never heard of this organization. Kakashi asked Sai to press the final letter to see that it was newest looking one of all the 4. The next one revealed a tall, beautiful young woman, 18 to 19 years old, with blue eyes and long golden blonde hair that fell past her waist. Even though she looked beautiful, she had a very serious face and, from what they can tell, a strong will. Listen, the next attack from the enemy forces is going to attack in 3 separate divisions. Nagi and your friends will be leading the attack head-on, while you are going to sneak around them and take out any surprise attack that they may have. Once you've done that, meet up with Ala Rubra to continue the attack. Hopefully, if we push them hard enough, we can get them to surrender or at least have a ceasefire with their forces. Remember, you'll be facing an army of a possibility of 5,000 forces out of the 25,000 that we'll be facing if the information is correct. Also, your brother has asked me to give you this message. I hope to see you in the front lines. That's all. Good luck, Naruto. When the letter finished its message, they couldn't believe on what they just heard. For one, this young man was going to or has fought about 5,000 soldiers by himself, even though he looks to be young. As everyone was thinking about it, they turned to look at the young man and wondered on who he is. But for Kakashi, there was one thing that was really bothering him. As last message finished, and heard the woman say Naruto, he was beginning to have a lot of thoughts about what is going on. It was around this time that Naruto started to wake up from being out cold. He started to struggle a bit from the sheets that were placed on him. Everyone looked to see that he just woke up and started to move. Sakura quickly went to his side, while everyone looked on to see if he was alright. As she tried to keep him from moving, Naruto opened his eyes a bit to only see a blur of pink in front of him. Why is there a cherry blossom in heaven? Struggled Naruto, before he fell back to sleep again. Even though it was for a moment, Sakura was able to see his eyes open up a bit to see that it was sapphire blue. Once he went back to sleep, Sakura couldn't help but really look at him, imagining him without bandages. As she looks at him, she can see the scary resemblance between him and the Yondaime Hokage. She decided to speak up about it. Hey guys. This guy which got everyone's attention, while Sakura continued, his face, if you really look at him, doesn't he look like the Yondaime-sama? With that, Kakashi and the rest of Team 7 look at Naruto to see that, without the bandages, he really does look like the Yondaime, but with some small differences. But for Kakashi, it got him thinking about something else. Morning. It was mid-morning when Naruto started to wake up. Last time he woke up, he thought he saw a cherry blossom. Now, having a lot more rest, he is able to move around again. He bent up to see the room, while still in the bed floor. Once he looked around, he saw that the room was very plain, just for guests to sleep in. He went to the open window to see that the house was near the ocean, which he didn't mind since it was calming to feel the ocean breeze just now. After checking on the room, he got up to see that he wasn't wearing his regular clothing. He was wearing someone else's pajamas, for adults. He looked underneath the clothing to see that he was bandaged up pretty well. He then looked around more carefully to see that his clothing was laid next to his bed. He decided to get changed and find out where he was since he now knew that he isn't in dead. Kitchen/dining room. Everyone, right now, was eating breakfast. Kakashi was well enough to eat something, but still had problems moving on his own strength, which he needs crutches to move around. Today, Kakashi is going to put his team on a new training exercise since he knew that they needed to get stronger in order to face Zabuza. Once they finished eating, Kakashi told his young genin team to get ready for training. Sasuke was more than happy since he wanted to get stronger, you all know the reason. It was then before leaving Tazuna's house that Sakura decided to check on Naruto. I'm going upstairs first to see if that boy is alright, he may have woken up again by now. Alright then, once you checked on the boy, we'll go and start on your training since we need to prepare if Zabuza returns again, said Kakashi. Sakura nodded in agreement, which Tsunami said that she will also go to check on him to see if his bandages needed changing. By the way, Sakura, why are you wearing the boy's pendant around your neck? Sai asked curiously since he has seen her wearing the pendant around her neck all morning long. Just because I feel like it and that it would look good on me, plus I want to make sure it stays safe, answered Sakura. It was then from behind her, everyone heard a voice. Oh really, wouldn't it be safer around my neck since it is mine? Everyone turned to see that the young boy was up and about and looking fine. He was wearing his clothes that Tsunami had cleaned and left next to him, except for his hooded mage cloak. Sakura blushed a little, since she was seeing him up close, without the bandage on his face, to him, and had to admit again that he was attractive. Everyone was stunned to see that the boy was able to walk. Considering the injuries that he had, he should be out and unable to move for a week without medical attention. It was then at this point that Tsunami got her act back together and quickly made it to him. What are you doing? You're seriously injured. You need to lie down and rest or you're going to reopen your wounds again, ordered Tsunami. It's alright, I'm fine now, answered Naruto. No! You're not fine, you need to get these clothes off and get back to bed because of the injuries on your arm and deep wound near your waist, complained Tsunami, as she tried to move Naruto back upstairs. But Naruto just held back Tsunami to remove his shirt to reveal his chest. Everyone was shocked to see that the wounds on his left arm were almost completely healed up, and the deep wound was only showing bruise signs. I heal ridiculously fast. Wounds like this will be healed up in a day or so for me, said Naruto, while thinking, that's because of Kurama and my magical power helping me out. He then looked at Sakura and sticked out his hand in front of her. You mind giving me back my pendant, little girl? Asked Naruto. Sakura complied and removed the pendant from her neck, which Naruto took it back and placed around his neck. He then asked on who bandaged him up, which Tsunami and Sakura answered that they did. He thanked them for helping him out, but asked if Tsunami is the one that changed his clothing. Tsunami blushed a little, agreed that she changed him, which he said thank you. He looked around to see the people that were seating in the kitchen. He saw Kakashi, Sasuke, Sai, Tazuna, and Tsunami's son, Inari, which of course he didn't know. As he looked around the kitchen/dining room, his attention was drawn more to Kakashi, more precisely his headband that acted as an eye patch. Naruto looked at Kakashi's headband, which was bugging him about something that Kakashi noticed and decided to speak about it. Why are you looking at me? Kakashi asked. Oh sorry, it's not you I'm looking at, it's your headband, answered Naruto. You're interested in my Konoha headband? Questioned Kakashi. Konoha, muttered Naruto. It was then that Naruto gone wide-eye, as he remembered now on why Kakashi's headband was familiar to him. It was the leaf symbol that he remembered on what the Sandaime told one time. Flashback. Right now, a 15-year-old Naruto was awake, on guard duty while his brother and friends were sleeping for the night. He was the first watch on, keeping a lookout as everyone slept. As he looks up to see the stars, the Sandaime Hokage appeared next to him in his ghostly figure. Beautiful night tonight, huh, Naruto? Said Sarutobi. Yes, it is. If it wasn't for the threat of war, I would really enjoy it more, stated Naruto. Yes, how unfortunate that the magical world is dealing with this problem. I sincerely hope that war doesn't break out since we still need to try to find a way back home, said Sarutobi as he holds a ghostly smoking pipe, not lit. Yeah, hey Gigi, if I ever do get back home, how the hell will I even know which country or village to go if I don't even know the place? Asked Naruto. Well, I'll be there to help you since I used to live there and know a lot of the terrain. But I think I should tell you just in case if I chose to finally rest in peace or something else comes along, answered the old Hokage. Sarutobi told Naruto that his parent lived in Hai no Kuni, Fire Country, in a village called Konoha. He explained that if Naruto ever runs into a Konoha shinobi, he should ask him for directions if the person was on a mission or follow the person back since following him would lead him home. He described to Naruto on what a Konoha symbol looks like on the ground. Now, once you finish making a right triangle, erase the side line and add a swirling circle starting from the top and spin it around clockwise into a whirlpool, stated third Hokage. Like this, questioned Naruto. Once Naruto completed it, Sarutobi nodded in agreement and said, good, just like that. Remember Naruto, if you ever go back home to our world and see a symbol like this, you well know that he or she is a Konoha shinobi and an ally to you. But be careful, since if you see the symbol with a scratch going across the symbol, it means that they are rogue. End flashback. As Naruto went wide-eyed, Kakashi looked at him carefully since Naruto looked like he was struck by lightning. Kakashi was very curious now, since Naruto's reaction was interesting to see. Sasuke and Sai also noticed it. Naruto went wide-eyed for a second or two, which he quickly recovered from it. Naruto shook his head, since now he knew where he was. The sealing ceremony that I became a catalyst to must have been much more intense on me than I thought, since I used what was left of my magic/chakra synchronization, along with the magic of the entire army. It must have pushed my body and power into a special void or something that teleported me here or something. If that's true, then, if I follow these Konoha nin back to Konoha, then I can see my parents. Naruto happily thought. Everyone looked at Naruto as he was silent for a moment, like he was thinking about something, but then saw him smiled. He then started to walk away. Tsunami questioned on where he is going. Oh, don't worry, I'll be back, I just need to find out about something, smirked Naruto. Naruto went to the front door, put on his boots that were there, and left. In the kitchen/dining room, everyone thought that he was weird since the way he acted. Kakashi decided to awake his team from sudden confusion about the boy by telling them to get ready to start training. Outside. After taking a 10-minute walk, Kakashi found a nice place for his genin team to start the tree walking exercise. Once he was done explaining to them on how it works, he told them to start doing it. For Sasuke, he put too much chakra on the tree and cracks apart underneath his foot, which pushed him away, but before going more than 3 meters high. Sai climbed about the same height as Sasuke. But the one that made it high up to Kakashi's LV was Sakura, who was sitting on the branch. Well, looks like the kunoichi of the group has the better chakra control. Not only does Sakura know a lot about chakra, her control and stamina are quite good. Comparing her to an elite Uchiha that we have here, she makes the name worthless, casually explained Kakashi. Shut it, sensei, yelled Sakura, as she thought that Sasuke would hate her now. As Kakashi watched from above at both Sasuke and Sai, he thought, of course, Sasuke have an incomparably greater chakra amount of chakra within him. If this training goes well, he could be a powerful assist. Before they could do anything, someone yelled out, should you be telling them that, especially when you knew Her Majesty here would of course be able to climb up the tree first since she has a lot less chakra comparing to the other two runts there. Everyone looked at the tree that Kakashi was on, to see that it was the boy, Naruto, above him, about twice as further up. Naruto looked down on the others, which he then yelled, of course, you are probably hoping to motivate the emo kid down there into trying harder since you know already that he wouldn't be able to make on the first try since he has a lot more chakra to control instead, right? He came walking down the tree like a casual person walking on the ground. As soon he came to Kakashi's LV, he looked at Genin to see what their reactions about what he just said. Sakura was amazed that blonde-hair boy was able to do the tree climbing technique, but was also surprised to know that Sasuke hold more power than she knows. Sasuke was surprised to know that the blonde-haired teenager knew that he couldn't make on the first try since he had more chakra than Sakura, making it a lot harder for him to do the technique. Sai just looks emotionless, since he doesn't really have anything to say about. Kakashi was the one that kinda looked peeved, but saw that Sasuke is even more motivated since he knows now that if he trains hard, he could unleash the tremendous chakra that is dormant within him. I'm surprised that you are able to do this exercise, huh? Stated Kakashi. Yeah, well, I had a pretty good grandfather that was also an excellent teacher. Naruto smiled, as he thought of the old man. Well, since you're here, there is something that I have been meaning on asking you, asked Kakashi. Like what, governor? Said Naruto. What is your name? questioned Kakashi. I'll tell you mine, if you tell me yours, since it's the polite thing to do when you first meet a stranger, asked Naruto. His name is Kakashi Hatake, answered Sakura. It was at this moment that Naruto knew the person in front of him is. Naruto heard that name before, when the Sandaime explained to him. Like him, his father also had students and only one of them survived. That student was Kakashi Hatake. Naruto couldn't help but think his luck is getting better, but of course he saw Kakashi looking at him with somewhat of a glare for saying what he was trying to keep hidden from Sasuke. Alright, now since you know my name, what's yours? Asked Kakashi. Everyone looked at Naruto, who they still didn't know. Naruto answered with a soft smile, my name Thomas Springfield. Sasuke thought it was weird, especially with the weird accent that he spoke. Sakura was intrigued since she never met anyone who looked so close to the Yondaime Hokage. Kakashi just plainly looked at him, like he was regular person now. Of course, Naruto continued on before they could even say another word. Of course, that is what my adoptive mother named me after she found me. You may not know it, but I believe your sensei does, since the night of 9, the old monkey not saved 2 souls but also their greatest treasure. Sasuke, Sakura and Sai were wondering on what he meant, while Kakashi was readying between the lines on what he was saying. Know his name, Knight of 9, old monkey, 2 souls and their greatest treasure, thought Kakashi as he read between the lines on what it all means. The more he thought about it, the more he started to realize that the key words in the sentence. It was only then, after thinking about it for a few moments, that he realized who he is. The clues were there. The way he looks like his sensei, the Yondaime Hokage, the sentence he said. Kakashi thought, is he actually Naruto? Before Kakashi can continue to think, Naruto said, see ya chaps. I'm going to explore this island since I kinda like to know my surroundings. Once he said that, he jumped away and started to explore the island. When Naruto left, Kakashi told his team to continue their training, while he went back to the house since he needs to rest, plus he figured that Naruto will return there after he finished his exploring. With Naruto. An island about 1 mile away from the island where Tazuna's house is located, there was a large slicing and static noise that can only be heard on the island was made. Inside the forest, Naruto stood in front of the now destroyed/split boulder about half the size of Tazuna's house. He stood in front of it, panting a little, but alright. Judging from how much I used and how hard I'm breathing, I would say I can perform about 10 of them. That's not too bad, even though I mostly recovered. I can usually perform 18 of them in a row without getting tired, thought Naruto. True, it is strange it could be because of this world. Don't forget this world is ruled by shinobi who uses chakra, while you were raised in the mage world that uses magic that is connected more on spiritual energy, which this world doesn't use unless it is from their own spiritual powers to mold chakra. Not to mention that the concentration of magic here is lower than back home, even now there is a lot of life force. So I guess it's going to be harder for you to wield your magical power at your true amount. But of course, you have been already trying to figure out on how to compensate on your power, said a voice inside Naruto's mind. But I can make that up thanks to the Sandaime, who trained me in both standard and advanced chakra control, remember Kurama? Thought Naruto. Yes, I remember how he taught you on how to convert your own spiritual and physical energy to create chakra. What's really impressive is the fact that you can split and synchronize the 2 powers of magic and chakra into your own style to give you an extremely high boost, said Kurama. Yeah, I'm just glad that we're alright after that little experience we took when we fell into our birthplace, thought Naruto. Now, as you all are wondering, Kurama is the recently now known name of the Kyuubi no Yoko. I will explain later on how Naruto and Kurama got to be in good terms. Flashback. Naruto made it the small island away from the island that Tazuna's house was located. He first found a nice flat boulder that had a good view of the ocean. After finding the location, he went and sat down in a meditating state. Kurama! Kurama! Are you alright? Answer me! Naruto mentally yelled out in his mindscape. It was silent for a while, but then he heard a bit of a small sound, which started to get louder. Naruto, my head is aching me, what happened? Where are we? Said Kurama. We're back in our world, the world that we were both born in, thought Naruto. Are you sure? Said Kurama. Yes, I spoke with some Konoha shinobi when I woke up after our little life or death situation. I saw the leaf symbol on all of their headbands, thought Naruto. So I'm guessing then that it's going to be an interesting reunion, said Kurama. Yep, I guess, Naruto thought, feeling a little nervous about meeting his parents. End flashback. After making contact with Kurama, Naruto decided to check on his magical powers. Once he knew where he stands, he decided to check the area around the village in secret. He quickly went back to the island to start checking things out. Tizuna's house. It's already past 5 p.m. when Naruto returned back from his little adventure. He already checked the island inhabitants and saw the poor condition that the villagers have been living in. He already has seen the poor conditions during the war in the magical world. On the way, he bumped into both Sakura and Tizuna. Before he walked towards them, he saw Sakura gave some candy to a little boy, who looked very hungry. He walked up to them and complimented her on it. It was also there that Tizuna explained on how the person who is destroying the people's lives was named Gatu. When Naruto saw how these people were starving and suffering, he decided to give them a little help. Naruto went along with Sakura and Tizuna back home to Tizuna's house. Dinner was made by Tsunami, which Tizuna sat in the head of the table, while everyone else sat on the sides. Naruto thanked Tsunami for the meal as well. After dinner, Sakura asked about a picture that was torn, hanging on the wall that had Tizuna, Tsunami and Inari. Naruto heard the sad story about Inari's stepfather. Outside. Naruto stood outside the house, overlooking the night sky. As he continued to stare at the stars, he thought about his brother and friends, as well as wondering if the sacrifice he did for everyone back in the magical world helped save the entire world. Even though he could continue to think about it, he knew that for now, he can't, since there is no way of finding out until he can figure something out. The only thing he could do right now is live in the present and move towards the future, whatever future that lay before him now. His thoughts changed from his own personal problem to the problem of this island. He remembered what Inari said earlier today at dinner. "Are you stupid? There's no such thing as a hero," with careless and disgusted voice. Naruto thought back at how his brother, as well as all his friends from Ala Rubra. "You're right, kid. Heroes aren't born, however, they are made by the people that they hold dear in their hearts, as well as knowing when right thing to do needs to be done, like your dad did. I think it's about time that this place starts believing in again when you take up your father's legacy, kid," Naruto thought as he smiled. Naruto knew what needed to be done first, so he was about to go, when he sensed someone watching him. He knew where the source was located, so he just stood there at his spot to speak. "You know, if you're going to watch me, I suggest you do a better job than that, right, Kakashi-san?" Out of the shadows, Kakashi appears behind him, which he doesn't move to see him. Of course, he could sense him thanks to the powers that he was able to gain when he learned to control Kurama. When Kakashi stepped out, he looked at Naruto, in the moonlight. For a moment or two, he could have sworn that he is seeing his sensei's back. After Kakashi came up towards Naruto, while both of them staying on neutral mode, they stood there for a few moments, until Naruto spoke up. "What? What is it? The way you're looking at me right now is kinda creepy? Is there something bothering you right now?" "Yes, on what you told us earlier today. Even though it was cryptic, you explained it a way that only I would understand. If I'm right, then are you really?" stated Kakashi, until Naruto cut him off. "Yes, I am. If you are wondering on how I know as well, you can thank the old monkey, since he has been with me for a couple of years now. Unfortunately, he is now resting in peace," sadly smiling Naruto. Kakashi was finding all this hard to believe, since Naruto has been missing for 12 years, without so much as a clue to where he can be. And the only reason he knows this is that his sensei, the Yondaime Hokage, had asked him to help him search for his son in secret. Before Kakashi can say anything, Naruto spoke up. "If you're wondering where I have been for all these years, which I am wondering how long it's been here, we can talk about it another time. Right now, I got some things to do, so good night." After which, Naruto started to walk away from the porch and away from the house. Kakashi would have gone, but he was still on crutches, so he can only do was watch him go, and start thinking about on what to do about this new situation, along with the situation with Zabuza and Gatu. Morning. It's been 6 days since the encounter with Zabuza. During that time, Kakashi was recovering quite well, while his genin team has improved on their chakra control with the tree climbing exercise. But what was surprising for not only them, but also everyone in the village, was the fact that someone or something came into the village, and suddenly left everyone in the village, food provisions, mostly rice, fresh vegetables, and fruit, in front of everyone's homes, enough for the people living inside to get by for 2 days. This went on every 2 days for the entire week. Everyone wondered on who kept coming here and giving them these gifts for them not only to eat but also to feed their families. Naturally, the people were wondering on who it was. Kakashi had a pretty good idea, but he couldn't prove it without some sort of evidence, especially considering on what it requires for this to be true or not. It was early in the morning on the 6th day, and Naruto was sleeping on plain grass, surrounded by trees. The reason he was sleeping there was because he felt like it, since it was starting to get crowded back into Zuna's house. As he slept, there was someone else walking through the forest. Someone was walking around the forest, picking up plants and herbs for medical treatment. The person was a young girl, 15 years, long black hair that goes past her mid-back. She had a beautiful face with lovely black eyes and wore a kimono with swirled designs. As she enjoyed the walk, she noticed that some of the birds that came around her gathered on another spot. She looked to see that there was someone lying on the ground with a hood covering his face. Once she notices the person, she can tell that the person was a young man. She quickly went towards him to see if he was all right. Tezuna's house. It was mid-morning when everyone in Tezuna's house was fully awake. Sakura was now coming downstairs to meet up with everyone. As everyone was getting ready for Tsunami's breakfast, Tezuna wondered what happened with Naruto since he left yesterday night. For the past couple of nights, none of them knew that Naruto was doing for these past couple of nights, but guessed he is probably the one that got the villagers the large amounts of food. Of course, they knew that it was impossible since it would be impossible by himself. As they wondered where Naruto is, Kakashi explained to them that he is just fine since he may not look it, he is a natural survivor. Naruto was sleeping peacefully when he felt someone starting to try and wake him up. He could hear a soft, gentle voice say, "You'll catch a cold sleeping in a place like this." Naruto woke up to see a beautiful raven-hair beauty in front of him. Naruto yawned before saying that was a nice nap. He then looked at the beauty. "Who are you?" asked in curiosity. After explaining that her name is Haku and was a healer, Naruto joined her in helping her look for herbs. As they searched, the Haku asked Naruto on why he doing in the forest by himself. He explained that he was doing a bit of training and decided to sleep in the forest since it was too crowded a place he was living for the moment. As they continued to have their conversation, Haku asked him on why he was training. Naruto explained that he was training so he can be as strong as he can find his lost family and to help protect them. Haku agreed with Naruto since she has someone else to protect as well. As they were finishing up, Naruto bid farewell to Haku. "Oh, by the way, I'm a boy," said Haku as he was leaving. Normally, any guy that was trying to flirt with Haku would have freaked out to know that they were trying to put the moves on a boy. But Naruto was different. At first, Naruto was of course stunned for a moment, but sensed something else which he just smirked. "Alright, thanks for telling me," said Naruto as he walked away, while saying, "Mr. Tombo," with a smirk. Haku was, of course, surprised to hear Naruto say that he was a tomboy, but thought that Naruto actually knew that he was actually a she. Haku would have thought about it more, but she knew that she needed to get these herbs to help Zabuza heal better. Tezuna's house. It's been another hard day of training for both Sasuke and Sai since they have been doing the tree climbing exercise, but were finally able to make it on top of the tree with only their feet. With that, both of them went back to Tezuna's house. Currently, it was dinner time when Sasuke and Sai made it back to Tezuna's house, which they told Kakashi that they made it to the top of the tree. Once Kakashi heard them complete the exercise, Kakashi put them on guard duty with Tezuna, which Kakashi will accompany them since he is well enough to help out as well. As everyone was waiting for dinner, Naruto, who came back to the house after a couple of hours of his own secret training. During that time, he sensed Inari starting to feel mad about something towards Kakashi and his genin team. It wasn't until Inari yelled out at why they were bothering on training since he believed that they will die by Gata's men. None of them said anything, but Naruto decided to put Inari in his place by telling him that his father would be ashamed of him on the way he was acting right now, and telling him that his sacrifice for his son was now worthless. He then told him that the way he is now, he will always be a cry-baby forever, as he leaves the dinner table to go outside. Inari cried when Naruto told him something so harsh, while Tsunami yelled at him for saying such a thing to her son, which he didn't show or care about apologizing. Later, everyone was asleep, while Naruto didn't return to the house. Inari was outside watching the moon on the porch above the water. Kakashi came over to try and explain something to Inari, which helped since he has experienced loss just like Inari. Once he had the conversation, Kakashi left Inari to himself for him to figure things out. Morning. Tsunami and Inari were outside wishing Tezuna, Kakashi and the genin a good day at the bridge. Unbeknownst to them, Zabuza was ready to go as well and was ready to kill Tezuna, along with his partner, Haku, by his side. After a while of walking and making it to the bridge, everyone saw the horror that awaited them. In front of them, Tezuna's workers were lying down and injured by someone. Kakashi figured that it was probably Zabuza. While they were ready to fight for their lives, Tsunami and Inari were about to get in trouble when two of Gato's thugs came and were outside, ready to do something to them. Inside, Tsunami was minding her own business, when the two thugs outside slice up her house's wall into the kitchen. They wanted to kidnap her as ransom to stop Tezuna from completing the bridge. Inari came down to see what happened, and saw the thugs. One of them wanted to cut the kids since they needed only one hostage. Tsunami threatened to kill herself to protect her son. They took Tsunami, while Inari just cried about not protecting his mom and stuff. He then remembered what everyone told him about being strong and stuff. Once he made up his mind, he went to defend his mother. He ordered them to stop and let her go, which he then ran towards them to knock them out. Tsunami tried to stop him, but the two swordmen pulled out their swords to cut and kill Inari. But right before they could reach each other, both the swordsmen were thrown off over Inari and knocked away towards the house. Inari wondered what happened, as well as Tsunami. They then heard, "Good thing I was nearby, or otherwise you would have been in a troubling situation." Both Tsunami and Inari looked behind them to see Naruto standing behind Tsunami. Both the swordmen were surprised to see him here. Both of them drew their swords out from their sheaths, which Naruto walked past Tsunami and Inari, as he was ready to fight them. A few seconds later, Naruto was now standing on top of both swordmen, who were knocked out. Naruto just took them out so fast that Inari and Tsunami couldn't believe how fast he was. Once he explained something about why he was back at their house, he congratulated Inari for acting brave, since now his father must be proud of him. Once both the thugs were tied up, Naruto left Inari and Tsunami to take care of things here, while he went to the bridge to make sure that everyone was alright. Bridge. Back on the bridge, everyone was on full gear when Zabuza and his partner, the fake masked Mizu Ambu, surprised in their arrival within the hidden mist that Zabuza created. First, Zabuza created a few water clones, which Sasuke took care of in an instant. Zabuza was somewhat impressed that Sasuke improved in speed and power. Haku was then ready to face Kakashi and his team. Sasuke said that he will take care of Haku, while Kakashi would face Zabuza. Sasuke and Haku first fought with their shinobi tools, Sasuke with his kunai while Haku fought with Saban needles. They were dead even, and after a while, they were deadlocked with their ninja tools. "Not bad, but I don't want to kill you. Of course you won't stand down, will you?" said Haku. "Don't be foolish," replied Sasuke. Haku then told Sasuke that he won't have a chance against his speed. Haku also explained that she has got two advantages, with the water, for the water clones was around them. The other is something that Sasuke and the others didn't know it could be done. Haku went to perform a jutsu with one-hand signs, which Sasuke or anyone else couldn't believe that it could be done. Around Sasuke and Haku, Haku performed a large-scale needle attack made of water. Sasuke was able to dodge the attack by remembering his training. Once Haku's water needle attack missed, Haku was put onto the defensive, which she was kicked back by Sasuke, back to Zabuza's side. It was then at this time that Zabuza told Haku to stop playing around. Haku began to release a large amount of chakra, which everyone could tell that something big was coming. Haku unleashed his secret jutsu, demonic ice mirrors. Everyone was stunned that a small dome was made of ice appeared around Sasuke. Haku stepped into the ice, which shocked everyone as he merged with it. Kakashi ordered Sakura and Sai to protect Tazuna, so he can help Sasuke. Unfortunately, Zabuza was there to stop Kakashi from helping Sasuke. Since he did, Zabuza will kill Sakura, Sai, and Tazuna. Sakura and Sai formed a plan to help Sasuke by Sai going into to help him, while Sakura would prove a distraction, while giving Sasuke a kunai to help protect him. They went with the plan, but Haku caught the kunai, while Sai was able to get inside the dome. Once Sai was inside, Haku attacked, which Sai used his Nagato sword to block most of the Saban strikes that came out of all the mirrors. Unfortunately, some Saban attacks went through and hit both Sai and Sasuke. While Sasuke and Sai fight for their lives, Kakashi was in the middle fighting Zabuza on his own. The hidden mist was so thick that Kakashi couldn't use the Sharingan very well, while Zabuza had an advantage since he can fight with sound alone. At one point, Zabuza attacked Tazuna and Sakura, but were saved thanks to Kakashi while taking a somewhat nasty wound. During the battle, Sasuke was beginning to awaken the Sharingan, which helped in dodging and attacking Haku. Even though the Sharingan helped Sasuke, Sai wasn't able to keep up with Haku's speed and was brought down. Right now, it was now between Sasuke and Haku. After battling it out, Haku put Sasuke on his knees, which Sasuke couldn't do anything since he was completely injured. The mist was able to blow a bit to let everyone see the finishing blow that Haku was going to give Sasuke. "It's over," muttered Zabuza as he stares at the ice dome. "Sasuke-kun!" yelled Sakura. "Sasuke!" thought Kakashi as he sees Sasuke's demise in front of him. Haku came out of the mirror, with Saban needles in hand, while Sasuke watched in fear as Haku was about to stab him. It was then that everything changed. Right before Haku can even strike Sasuke, her arm that had the Saban needles was stopped. This surprised everyone since some of the mist was still blinding, so no one can tell what happened. Haku and Sasuke looked where Haku's arm was caught by someone else's hand. Sasuke thought it was Sai, but then revealed that the person that caught Haku's hand was coming out of Haku's own ice mirror. I'm impossible. What kind of jutsu is this to catch my arm from coming out of my own ice mirror? Haku thought. It's nice to see you again, Mr. Tombo, said the hooded figure before he struck Haku by blow him away. Haku was sent flying through the other side of the dome and through her own ice mirror, into the guardrail at the end of the side of the bridge. The sudden force that was felt when it blew the mist away to reveal another person wearing a hooded cloak and standing tall inside the ice dome. The hood that covered his face was blown off to reveal that it was Naruto. Why you? Said Sasuke. Humph, now then, emo boy, you have debt to me which I intend to collect on. Got it? Smirked Naruto. Naruto stood tall in front of Sasuke inside the dome, as he looked where he thrown Haku outside the dome. Haku struggled a bit, but got herself up on her 2 feet. As soon as Haku was on both her feet, the mist starting to cover the area again, which Haku thought it would be better for her to fight in. When Kakashi saw Naruto appear out of nowhere and saved Sasuke from death, he was very grateful, but also now curious to see on what he can do. Sakura and Tazuna were pleased to see Naruto appear in front of her, even though they knew him as Thomas. Zabuza was stunned to see someone was able to catch Haku, when he was at full speed. Of course, both Kakashi and Zabuza immediately brought back their attention to each other. Haku and Naruto stood in front of each other, while having a hard time looking through the thick mist. For Haku, having the mist cover the area was a good thing since she can use the water on the bridge and mist to help her attack Naruto. Haku used her ice mirror jutsu again to try and get behind Naruto. Sasuke looked back as he saw the puddle of water that was in front of him freeze into ice. In an instant, Haku came out from behind Naruto, which Sasuke would have tried to warn him, but was too weak to say it fast. Haku had her Saban needles in front of her, ready to put down Naruto since she needed to end this battle quickly to help Zabuza. Right before Haku could even reach Naruto, Naruto instantly moved to the side so fast that Haku didn't notice it. She then saw Naruto caught her left hand which held the Saban needles with. Why are you trying to kill Tazuna? Why are you trying to stop a person who only wants to bring hope back to his people in this country? Naruto asked this question, as they both stood in the stance that they were in. It because I'm trying to help someone I cherish realize his dream, answered Haku. Haku used this moment to try and kick Naruto's head by using her caught arm for support. Naruto was already a step ahead of her in that department, since he pulled Haku forward before she can begin her attack. He then used his right hand to throw her over his shoulder. Haku did a front flip, which he landed and then looked back at Naruto. Haku would have continued her attack, but was surprised when Naruto was now behind her without even her noticing it. Naruto held his arm out at Haku's face and unleashed a large amount of chakra shockwave. It sent her flying back near Sasuke, who was still too exhausted to move, just kneel. Haku landed about 5 meters away. Sasuke got one of his kunai and was prepared to throw it at her, but Naruto caught Sasuke's hand and put it away. The force of Naruto's attack was so strong that the ice dome that Haku created around Sasuke, Sai and Naruto started to shatter since Haku couldn't hold it anymore. Along with Haku's mask, the dome breaking apart, as a result of Naruto's attacks. Haku stood up with the last of her strength, when Naruto calmly walked towards him. He was about 2 meters away when Naruto stopped advancing, which she wondered why. Naruto finished me, I lost, so therefore, I'm nothing more than a broken shuriken or kunai. I lost my purpose in life. So please finish me? Sadly said Haku. Naruto just looked at Haku calmly. He took a couple of moments before speaking up. Haku, why are you doing this? More importantly, why are you helping a man like Zabuza kill someone who is trying to help his people? Asked Naruto. As Naruto was hearing about Haku's sad life story and why he was helping Zabuza, Kakashi and Zabuza were finishing up their fight. What's going on? I can't hear any type of fighting. Is the battle over? Did Naruto lose? I need to finish this fight now to find out, thought Kakashi. Kakashi then grabbed a scroll from his Jonin vest and put both his hands on it in a ram sign. He then yelled, Hey Zabuza, I know we want to continue this fight, but we're both busy people, so why don't end this fight here and now? Come on, what do you say? Interesting words, Kakashi. I would consider your words to be a bluff, but let's see what you have in store. Show me, Kakashi, yelled Zabuza through the mist. With Naruto. Naruto had just finished hearing Haku's story, which in some specs, he can understand where Haku was coming from, especially knowing she comes from poverty, and having her parents killed. Haku, even though you were lonely and had nothing to go by, that didn't mean you could have tried and find a path that you would have wanted. Zabuza might have helped you get back your purpose in life, But not in the expense of your heart, since I can tell that you never did try and kill Sasuke and Sai," stated Naruto. "Thank you for your kind words, Naruto. You're right, I could have tried to find a new purpose. But I was young, and even though I joined Zabuza, it doesn't mean I don't regret it, since I was given my reason to live. But now my purpose is finished. The only thing you can do for me now is kill me," said Haku. "I won't. I have rule in fighting an enemy, and that is that I never kill anyone with a pure or kind heart, plus I don't like to kill cute girls like you," smirked Naruto. Haku was shocked that Naruto will not kill her. This made her happy and sad at the same time, since she will, once again, live without a purpose. While Naruto was trying to convince Haku, Kakashi already trapped Zabuza with his ninja summon, earth-tracking Fang no Jutsu. Kakashi summoned his dog summonings to capture Zabuza with the scent of his blood that was on Zabuza and his sword. Once Kakashi had Zabuza where he wanted, Kakashi prepared one of his most powerful jutsu, Raikiri, Lightning Blade. Naruto heard the static noise that was coming through the mist. He used his powers to sense that Kakashi was using some powerful jutsu against someone that he was facing, which he guessed was this Zabuza person. The moment Naruto took his eyes of Haku, Haki used her demonic ice mirror jutsu to create another ice mirror near her, which Naruto noticed. He was about to stop her, when he heard her say, "Thank you, Naruto, but now, I can only do one last thing for Zabuza-sama." Naruto realized what she was planning to do. This is when he quickly acted. Kakashi was close to strike Zabuza down for good, when Haku's ice mirror appeared between them and came out, throwing her Saban needles at the scroll, while acting as a living shield to protect Zabuza from death. In that moment, everyone was surprised by what happened next. In an instant, Naruto appeared out of Haku's ice mirror, spinning clockwise, grabbing Haku, giving Zabuza a back heel kick, catching Kakashi's Raikiri with the back of his right hand to avoid being hit. Once Naruto appeared, Kakashi hit the ice mirror instead of Haku, while Zabuza was sent flying a few meters away, while losing his grip to his executioner sword, while Naruto landed kneeling, with Haku in his left arm, near the executioner sword. The speed that saved Haku and Zabuza was amazing, while Kakashi's attack hit the mirror and then the ground, creating a blast that blew the mist away from him. Sakura and Tazuna were finally able to see what was happening within the mist. They saw Kakashi getting up from a cracking crater hole in the bridge, while Zabuza was struggling to get up. Naruto held Haku near him as he looked at both Kakashi and Zabuza. Both of them looked at Naruto, who just came and stopped them in an instant. Naruto gently put Haku down, which she was stunned about how fast Naruto was, and looked at them saying, "Even though this is your fight, I won't let an innocent soul like Haku die," calmly speaking, while looking behind Zabuza. "Besides, we got company." Glaring behind Zabuza. Everyone looked to see that hidden in the mist was Gato. Behind Gato were dozens of thugs with weapons around them. "We are getting your ass kicked." "How disappointing, Zabuza," said Gato. Zabuza questioned on what Gato was doing here, which he answered. Gato was going to betray Zabuza from the beginning, using missing Nin to fight other Nin, and once they were weakened, he will kill them with numbers of thugs and bandits. "Kakashi, I'm sorry, this fight is over. Now I have no reason to kill Tazuna, we have no reason to fight, we have no quarrel," stated Zabuza. Kakashi agreed, since Zabuza was only fighting them for money. Gato looked at everyone and thought of how he is going to enjoy killing everyone here. Gato continue on how he going to kill Tazuna, as well as them, and destroy the bridge to destroy what's left of village's hope. But before he could say anything else, someone yelled out, "Oh, just die already." Everyone looked at Naruto as his right arm was in a thrown position. Gato looked confused, but looked closely in his chest. Gato saw something thin with a sharp end. "I recommend that you don't pull that out, since that is the only thing keeping you alive for now. But in about 4 minutes, you're not gonna be around much longer," stated Naruto. Everyone was shocked on what happened. Naruto killed Gato with one of Haku's Saban needles that was slowly delaying his death. "Yo, you bastard, how dare you do this to me? I'll have your head," yelled Gato. "You're not the first to say that, and you'll not be the last." Naruto muttered the last part of his sentence. Gato ordered his thugs to kill every one of them, since he doesn't have much time left. Sasuke and Sai were luckily behind on their far left, where Zabuza and Kakashi had their battle. Naruto was out in front, ready to fight them with a look of confidence. All of the thugs were ready to run and take down Naruto, when a single arrow, out of nowhere, landed right in front of the thugs. Everyone wondered where it came from. Naruto just smirked and said, "Well, it's about time he showed up. And oh my, he brought friends." As he looked behind him, there behind Tazuna and Sakura was Inari with the villagers, armed with pans and stuff to defend their home. But as soon as the thugs saw this, they began to get nervous, but one of them reminds them that they had the advantage in weapons and stuff. This got them to dig out whatever courage they had, which the ones with bows got their arrows ready to fire. There was over half of the thugs, carrying arrow launchers and bows, which would count for less than 100 arrows being shot at all the villagers. The thugs were ready to fire, which they were aiming to hit the villagers and everyone else. Kakashi was thinking on what to do since he doesn't have much chakra left. Zabuza was in worse shape, while Haku was exhausted. Sai and Sasuke were out. Kakashi thought that Sakura can protect the villagers, but she has no real physical strength for this. He watched as they fired all the arrows towards them. The villagers were in a panic since they were going to die. Everything seems to slow down for everyone. It was then they all saw a miracle. Just as the arrows were halfway towards them, 100 or so crimson-covered bladed whips came out of nowhere and struck each arrow to block them, which it did. Everyone was stunned when the arrows were stopped like that. Everyone wondered where it came from, but then heard Naruto laughing. Naruto looked back at Inari. You've started taking up your father's mantle with this first step very good, however, you're still not strong enough to take on something like this, and so for today only, I'm going to give you special service. Naruto smirked as he prepared his own counterattack. The thugs were ready, when Naruto picked up Zabuza's sword and wielded it with only one arm like an expert with a katana, except the size was different. Just then, Zabuza's sword began to glow with a crimson aura, which everyone thought on what was going on. Now then, I don't really like to show off, but in this case, I'm going to show you what I can do, said Naruto. Just then, a crimson glow stretched from Zabuza's sword into a separate sword but smaller. Naruto then dropped Zabuza's sword into the ground and completely focused on the crimson light that turned silver then to metal with a crimson glow outline. He then molded it artistically that constantly and shapely turned into another type of sword. Naruto continues to do this, showing the exotic designs in front of everyone. Everyone couldn't believe on what Naruto was doing. Here boys, you better spread the word on what I'm about to do as well as the name that did this. My name is Naruto of the Thousand Blade, the master of Kenzuko no Rirasu, metal release. Naruto introduced himself. The new sword separated into more than 24 types of swords which he showed his control by spinning them around him. Kakashi and the others were shocked on what's going since now. Kakashi can feel Naruto's chakra which was just as strong as his, but he can also sense something else, something that is mixing with it. But what was more unbelievable was the fact that Naruto said he can wield and create metal. The next thing that happened was outstanding. The thugs were caught off guard when dozens and dozens of swords fell from the sky and landed inside the crowd of thugs, which freaked everyone. Naruto smirked. Now boys, that was just for show, but I will go all out on you all if you don't leave, since if you don't I'll turn you all into Swiss cheese. As Naruto handled a sword that was now bigger than Zabuza's sword with ease. This got what Naruto wanted since all the thugs started to run away towards the boat that Gato used to bring them here. Naruto smirked as the thugs and bandits ran away from the bridge towards the boat. He turned around to smile at everyone, while sticking his sword into the bridge. Gato just stared at what Naruto just did. He was trapped in a circle of sword that pinned him down, while the other swords made openings for the thugs to leave. Gato was so angry, he was going to kill Naruto himself, but he started to feel his heart starting to slow down. Gato tried to fight it, but the death blow that Naruto gave him was just too much. With the last of his strength, Gato grabbed and pulled out one of the swords that Naruto created. He was ready to swing it like it was a buzzsaw. Right before Gato can throw the sword at Naruto, Naruto sensed on what Gato was about to do. Naruto just opened his hand and made it to a fist. Gato was going to throw the sword, when the sword suddenly glows then unleashed dozens of spikes from it that impaled Gato. Everyone saw how Gato was struck down by the sword that he was about to throw at Naruto. Everyone was scared at how Naruto would do it, as well as the glare and the killing intent that he was giving off. Naruto then whined down on the whole bloodlust thing and looked at the villager and said, "Let's just keep that incident as our little secret, alright." After years of hard treatment from Gato, Gato was finally dead and the people of Nami no Kuni are free. 2 weeks later. After the events with Gato ended, everything seems to have gotten better. With Gato gone, Tazuna was able to complete the bridge with Naruto helping fixing on what he destroyed or dented with his swords, which they disappeared as soon as he touched them. Kakashi, Zabuza, Sai and Sasuke were in bed, being nursed back to health by Tsunami and Sakura, somewhat. After the battle on the bridge, everyone that was injured was quickly brought to Tazuna's house. Kakashi was placed in bed because of his use of the Sharingan. Zabuza was laid next to him since he not only got deep dog bites, but also his right arm was heavily injured because Kakashi stabbed him with 2 kunais. Sai and Sasuke were in bed in cause of the injuries they received from Haku, which Sai was out cold for a while. But for Sasuke, he didn't like what happened during the bridge battle. Knowing that Haku defeated both him and Sai didn't sit well with him, but took solace that he was able to awaken his Sharingan. Haku was alright, only received minor injuries by Naruto since he only used just blast waves against her. While during the whole recovery state, Naruto kept calling Haku a girl, while Haku said that he was a boy. Everyone thought that Naruto was nuts, not believing in Haku, until an incident happened between them. It was morning in the end of the first week after the battle. Naruto woke up early that day to freshen up and get to work. He went off to use the bathroom where he opens the door. Inside was something that proved that he was right. Coming out of the shower was Haku, but in a towel that covered her up, but still show off her body, which was curvy with smooth feminine legs. They both look at each other for a moment. "You still now want to be called a boy?" Naruto plainly asks Haku. With that, Haku screamed her head off in embarrassment, which Naruto then walked out of the bathroom and closed the door, before the projectiles that Haku created with her bloodline was able to hit him. Everyone came running towards the noise, to see Naruto close the bathroom door. He then walked away from the bathroom and passed them while saying, "I told you that he was a she," with a smirk. It was then that Zabuza explained on why Haku called herself a boy, to ensure that she was safe. He explained that if they ever met any rogue shinobi that got a kick by raping Kunoichi, Haku would call herself a boy to throw them off. This, everyone agreed that it was a good idea, especially since the way she dressed made it hard for her to identify if she was a girl or boy. Currently, everyone was at the bridge saying their final goodbyes. Zabuza and Haku already left to go back to the Mizu no Kuni since news about the bloodline war ending with a new Mizukage in charge. Hopefully, with a new Mizukage, both Zabuza and Haku would be allowed to live back home. For Naruto, he was going to travel with Kakashi and his genin team, Team 7, back to Konoha. With some heartwarming goodbyes, they all left, while Tazuna and his family thought about how thankfully they are for their help. "So what are we going to name the bridge?" asked a villager. "I believe we should call it the Thousand Blade Bridge for the one who helped bring back our village's hope and courage," Tazuna said, since he remembered on what Naruto called himself back with the thugs. Plus, with a bridge that was named after a person calling himself the Thousand Blades, would mean that he was incredibly strong. Konoha. It's been a few weeks since Minato let Kakashi and his genin team leave Konoha on their first C-rank mission. He did get a progress report from Kakashi once in a while during the time, but it wasn't anything serious. Just as Minato was about to call it a day and go and pick up his daughter from the academy, Minato heard his door knock. He allowed the person to come in to see his assistants open the door to Kakashi's summoning dog, Pakin. "Hey Pakin, how are you? Is this another report from Kakashi?" greeted Minato. "I'm doing great, and yeah, this is in fact the final report to you since Kakashi said mission complete. This is the final progress report before Kakashi comes back to Konoha with his squad," answered Pakin. Minato nodded, in which he got the scroll from Pakin, which Pakin poofed away. He opened the scroll to start reading its context. He read that Zabuza and Haku were now going back to Kiri, after hearing that the bloodline war was over and the Yandere Mizukage was dead. He also read that Gato was killed during the bridge battle, as well as Sasuke awakening his Sharingan. When Minato read this, he was surprised on what had happened. But the last part of the scroll is what got him to go wide-eyed in disbelief when he read that the bridge battle's victory was from a boy that created metal swords. "Sensei, during all this, I have tried to talk to the young boy. It was only after the bridge battle that I was able to get some answers from him. If what he said is true, then, Sensei, your son will be coming back home with us," wrote Kakashi. Minato couldn't believe on what he read in Kakashi's letter. Minato thought it was a joke but knew that Kakashi doesn't joke around like that. He smiled with a bit of tears coming down his face. He rubbed the tears away and called for an Umbu agent. "Hokage-sama," answered Umbu. "Immediately call my wife to come here in my office," ordered Minato. The Umbu nodded in agreement and left to do his task. As Minato waited for his wife to come to his office, he couldn't help but wonder on how his son grew up these past 12 years. He also began to wonder on how Naruto was in Nami no Kuni all this time, if some of his most trusted shinobi went there once, in secret, and didn't find anything out of the ordinary. Minato didn't have to wait long for his wife to come, since his wife came into his office about 10 minutes later after Minato had sent the Umbu. "Minato-kun, what did you want to call me for? Is there something wrong?" asked Kushina. "Read Kakashi's latest mission progress report. There is something that you should know about," Minato answered with a smile. Kushina took the scroll and started to read it. Once Kushina finished reading the scroll, she dropped the scroll out of shock, which she began to break out in tears. He's back, Naruto, he is finally coming back home," Kushina cried happily. "Yeah, I think it's time to tell Erika about him, since when he comes home it might scare her a bit since she is going to see her big brother for the first time," said Minato. Kushina nodded and decided to go with Minato to the Ninja Academy to pick up Erika so to explain to her about her long-lost brother that she will soon meet. As they were leaving the Hokage Tower, both wonder on how Naruto grew up as well as wondering where he has been all this time. A few days later. Currently, Naruto was walking with Kakashi and his genin team, Team 7, through the forest. It would be noon when they arrive in Konoha. As they walked, Sasuke, Sai and Sakura watched Naruto as he walked side by side with Kakashi. They wondered on why Kakashi was so relaxed walking with him since they don't know who Naruto really is. As the genin tried to figure out Kakashi's relaxed posture, Kakashi, himself, was thinking about the conversation he had with Naruto a week after the battle in the Thousand Blade Bridge. Flashback. It was dark, while the moon was only half full to illuminate the night sky as the stars continued to twinkle brightly. Naruto was outside Tazuna's house, just overlooking the calm peaceful ocean water again as he enjoyed the calming affects. As Naruto continued to enjoy the view, he knew that someone was watching him. "You might as well as come out since I can sense you there for a while now," Naruto called Oyuta in the night. Hiding behind the trees was Kakashi. He came out hiding from the shadows into plain view. He walked towards Naruto as he cautiously remembered on what Naruto did during the bridge battle. As he got closer, he saw that Naruto didn't move one bit as he still had his back turned against him. Once Kakashi was about 2 meters away from him, he stopped since all he wanted to do was talk to Naruto about what Naruto said to him earlier in that weird phrase. "You're wondering on how I was able to wield or create metal swords during the bridge battle, but I believe that is second from what you really want to ask me. You want to know who I am, right?" asked Naruto. Kakashi was stunned to know that Naruto knew what was he thinking, but before he can ask on how, Naruto spoke. "If you're wondering on how I know, your emotions were telling me. The power that the old man sealed within me, I was able to master it. He also told me all about Konoha, as well as you being my father's only surviving student," Naruto said as he turned to face Kakashi with a smile. Kakashi was stunned, but then calmed down, now knowing that this young boy was Naruto. He was amazed that Naruto knew about him, but was surprised to know that the third was alive that told him. "So how did the Sandaime live after he sealed the Kyuubi within you? As well as wondering if he was doing alright living inside you for all this time?" asked Kakashi. "That is secret for another time. But for the answer on your second question, once he was unsealed from inside me, he had a pretty good time enjoying the new things he is able to see and hear. Of course, he also made me wonder on what the requirements on being Hokage were." Naruto smiled as he remembered all the fun that the Sandaime had, as well as making him wonder if being Hokage, or any other Kage in the elemental nations are required to be perverts. After that, Kakashi wanted to know where he was, but also on how he was able to do that thing with the swords since that was the first time in his life that someone created multiple swords out of thin air, and not summon them from a summoning scroll or jutsu. As far from what the Sandaime, and I hypothesis I lived in another world or dimension that is or parallelly exists, but was similar but different in many ways. It's hard to know for sure since there isn't anything documented to prove these theories. And as for the jutsu that I performed earlier, well, that's my secret. End flashback. As Kakashi continued to wonder on how Naruto was able to do that sword-creating jutsu as well as what kind of world he uses to live, while Naruto was thinking about something else. After telling Kakashi about who he is as well as telling him about where he lived, he asked if his parents were alright. Kakashi explained that after the battle, they worked hard on restoring the village back to what it was before the Kyuubi attacked. While restoring the village, the Yondaime asked his most trusted friends and shinobi to look for any sign of him, while keeping it a secret from the rest of the world since it was better to keep him safe from harm. Naruto also found out that he has a younger, 7-year-old sister, which he thought it was funny that her name is Erika. As he thought about the idea of having a younger sister, he couldn't help but think of his older, future sister-in-law, Princess Erika of Ostia, that he thought for sure that Nagi would end up marrying with. He also began to think that he hoped that his younger sister doesn't take after his older sister since Princess Erika sometimes scared him because of her stone-cold behavior. For most of the journey home, Naruto and Kakashi just had a lot of their mind about what is going to happen since Naruto coming back to the village isn't just going to affect his family, but also all of Konoha as well since with Naruto's return, the true heir to both the Namikaze and Uzumaki clans, not to mention the Jinchuriki no Kyuubi, has returned. Kakashi thought about what the civilians and council will react cause he knows from what the Yondaime told him that the council wants to restore the Uchiha clan, because of the Sharingan, by arranging a marriage between either Hinata or Erika or both since they both come from powerful shinobi clans, which to help breed strong Sharingan users. They also wanted to use Sasuke to get access to the Namikaze/Uzumaki fortune which many of the civilian council would want to get someday for themselves. Of course, this is a battle that both fathers of the families are arguing against for their own reasons. With Naruto's return, Kakashi knew that the council plans for Erika would go up in flames since with Naruto being the true heir, he would later have control of the Namikaze/Uzumaki clan's fortune and jutsus. For Naruto, he also thought about the council as well since Sarutobi also told him about the council, mostly on the civilian side and the shinobi elders. From what the Sandaime told him during his time as Hokage and his father's time, they were nothing more than annoying pests that need to be on leashes. His thoughts then turned from the council to his family since he doesn't know how they would react to him growing up the way he did. Well, they find his British accent, manners and habits strange. How his parents react from seeing him almost all grown up. How will his little sister react when she finally knows and sees him? There are so many questions that are going through his head since he wondered about it. It was after asking these questions to himself that he decided to follow his brother, Nagi, and friend/rival Rockin' way of doing things. He would just forget about it for now, and when the time comes, he would know what to do. After a few more hours of walking, Naruto and the crew finally made it to Konoha. Naruto couldn't help but look at the main gate. Sure, Naruto has seen gates before back in the magical world, but this the first time he is seeing one made of wood that was this high up. He then focused on the village itself, which had the same look of housing that Japan had when he visited Kyoto to train. He personally thought it was nice, especially from what the Sandaime has told him about when he was within him. As Naruto looked at the village from the main gate, Kakashi was talking to the Chunin guarding the gate to explain that his team is back as well as explaining on who the stranger is. Of course, when Naruto entered the village he had his hood up his head to cover his face. The Chunin were worried about him being a spy considering on what he was wearing, but Kakashi convinced them that he, Naruto, is alright and not a threat. Once the issue with the gate was cleared, everyone went inside the village. Naruto followed Kakashi as they all walked into the village. As they were walking, Naruto could see the many people walking by grocery, talking and such. He felt like he was now back in the past since the way people are dressed with the old clothing, not to mention the housing and stuff. He then looked up to see the Hokage empty. He remembered on what the third had told him on how all the Hokages, during his time, had their heads carved into the mountain of the village, which all the villagers could see. From what the third explained on how it go, he saw the third face and kinda chuckled at seeing the third looking as young as he was. He then looked next the third to see his father's, Minato, the fourth Hokage. As Naruto looked around, Kakashi told his genin team that they were dismissed for now, which he will contact them later. Once Team 7 disperses, Kakashi faced Naruto. Alright Naruto, I believe it's time we go to the Hokage Tower, since I already sent a letter to Minato-sensei that we were coming home today. So I'm pretty sure that both your mother and father are there waiting for you. Naruto nodded in agreement, but stopped to think about something. He then said, wait. How about you go ahead first, I want to do something before I meet them. Do something? Questioned Kakashi, while raising his one visible eye. Don't worry. I just want to make a cake. It would be rather rude not to bring something to my family since I am a British gentleman, stated Naruto. Kakashi nodded to Naruto's request, even though he knew that Kushina would probably strangle him on why Naruto isn't with him when he came to the office, as well as getting him to tell him where he is right now. Of course, that wasn't the only reason why Kakashi let Naruto go. Kakashi wanted some time with Minato and Kushina and explain to them about something since he hasn't written to them about how much Naruto changed. Once it was decided, they both separated to do what they were going to do. With Naruto. Naruto just started his walk around Konoha, as he was trying to find a good bakery store in order to borrow their kitchen to make something special. Even though Naruto doesn't look like it, Naruto was also a very accomplished chef in many cuisines, ranging from English, French, Italian, Spanish, Japanese, Chinese, and American style. As he was searching, he notices that a lot of people were looking at him with a strange suspicion or fearful look. He of course knew that it couldn't be helped since he knew that his hood was hiding his face, which makes him look very suspicious. He continued his walk towards finding a bakery until he spotted something that caught his interest. He spotted a shinobi weapon store, which was good since he needed a new sword because he lost his last sword when he became the catalyst for the sealing spell. He decided to put his search for a bakery on hold since he needed to get a new sword for him to wield in order to use his Shinryu style. He casually walked towards the store with his thoughts on what his new sword should be like. With Kakashi. Kakashi calmly made his way towards the Hokage Tower to report to his sensei. He walked through the building and walked up the stairs. He made it to the door of the Hokage's office. It was then that Kakashi overheard a bit of yelling inside his sensei's office. When is Kakashi going to be here? He better not be thinking on coming back late today of all days, yelled a familiar redhead. Now Kushi-chan, I am sure Kakashi will be here soon. After all, he did send us a letter on his return to the village a couple of days ago. So would you please be a little patient? Said another familiar voice, trying to calm the angry redhead. Don't try and calm me down, Minato-kun. I have been worrying for the last 12 years of my life, and now when he is supposed to be in the village today, I have to wait in this stupid office just so I can finally see my baby boy. I don't know how you do it, Minato-kun, but if he isn't here in the next 30 seconds, I'm going to use Kakashi for target practice for the next 3 weeks. Yelled out a frustrated Kushina. That got Kakashi sweating nervously, since he knew how vicious Kushina's training can be. So in order to avoid a possible future of him being a target practice dummy, he politely knocked on the door, for Kushina to answer on who it was. Once he identifies himself, Minato calmly asked Kakashi to enter. While he was about to enter, Kakashi, mentally, regretted on not bringing Naruto here first, since now, Kushina is going to get frustrated on where Naruto is and probably go on a rampage all over the village just to find him. Hello Sensei Kushina-sama, Kakashi said with his usual greeting. Hello Kakashi, I've gotten your reports on what happened in Nami no Kuni. I'm pleased that you and your team have returned safely from such a difficult mission, replied Minato. Thanks Sensei, although I do have to say that I really didn't do much this time, stated Kakashi. As Minato and Kakashi talked about the Nami no Kuni mission, Kushina, who stood next to her husband, being impatient and annoyed since, when Kakashi came in, she was suspecting to see Naruto coming in right next to him. She held her breath when she thought she was finally going to see her son. But with Kakashi solely appearing into the office, she was starting to get angry. It was then that after a bit of waiting and hearing Minato and Kakashi's conversation that Kushina started to explode an aura of frustration and anger that it started to reveal on why she was called the Red Bloody Habanero. Alright, enough you two, yelled out Kushina. Both Minato and Kakashi were starting to get scared since they saw Kushina's hair starting to wave around upwards in a flaming pattern, with piercing murderous eyes. You both can talk about the mission some other time right now. I only care about one thing. Kakashi, where is Naruto? Why isn't he here with you, and why did you come alone? Answer me. Kushina yelled as she glared at Kakashi with a lot of her killing intent on him. Kakashi gulped for a moment, before regaining his composure. The reason why Naruto isn't here is because he wanted to explore the village for a bit, as well as try and bring you guys a present to you guys, since he was raised to be a gentleman, which he was taught to be courteous to get a present for his hosts, or in this case his parents. After hearing this, Kushina calmed down a little and actually smiled, which both Minato and Kakashi were able to relax a bit now, since Kushina's fury died down. Kushina smiled since she had hoped that her son would grow to be strong, as well as kind boy who, from what Kakashi has just told her, he was. She then decided to go and search for him since she wanted to see him, but Kakashi stopped her when he started to talk again. But there was another reason why I decided to let Naruto venture out into the village on his own, Kakashi stated. This got both of them curious, since they wondered on what Kakashi knows about Naruto. Kakashi breathed deeply and sighed heavily when he said, the reason I let him go on his own is to inform you on something, on exactly what happened to him. He told me in broad detail on where he was, but he already knows about you, about me, and about this village, since it appears that the Sandaime Hokage has kept a good eye on him when you two couldn't. Both Kushina and Minato were surprised to hear that, even in death, the Sandaime Hokage was there to help their son, which they were both glad, but surprised, and wanted to know on what Kakashi knows. Kakashi started to explain the tale on what happened in Nami no Kuni. With Naruto. Naruto walked into the store to see that it was a well-kept store. He saw a lot of shinobi gear all around him. He saw kunai, katanas, shurikens, and other weapons. They also carried shinobi clothing, such as chain suits, shinobi vest, and other stuff. As he looked around, he saw that the few shinobi that were in there looked at him with suspicion. With Kurama's power, he is able to tell on what people, no matter how hard they try. He can truly feel what a person's emotions were saying to him, since he trained in order to keep his power as a Jinchuriki a secret. Of course, he also concentrated on lowering his chakra LV down, since he knows that his power is something that many people would be worried about. He steadily walked towards the counter that was back in front of the store, since after seeing the swords that they have, he couldn't find the one he wanted. He made his way back to the counter since he knew that he needed to ask for a custom job. He was surprised to see that the person, currently, running the store counter was a girl with 2 hair buns on the sides, above her head, like a panda bear. She wore a pink Chinese's vest, dark green shinobi pants. He looked at her as he was seeing a girl that looks like she comes from China. Excuse young lady, Naruto asked, which got the girl's attention. I'm looking for a sword to use. I've looked at the ones you have, but they don't suit me well. By any chance do you do any custom jobs here? Naruto's British accent. The girl looked up to see a hood person across the counter that she was seating on. She heard how smooth and yet strange way he talked. She would have looked at the face, but his hood kept his face hidden, which she only saw his mouth from it. The girl spoke up. Yes, we do custom work on swords. What kind of sword do you want? Asked the girl as she got a pencil and notepad to write down the order. Naruto requested a clay-tempered Japanese samurai sword, which the girl wrote it down. He asked for the proper length, the blade to be supremely sharp and strong steel for his sword, as well as the clay handle be extra strong since he has shattered the handle before when he was in combat. The girl wrote down what he wanted, which she told him it would be a couple of days before it was complete. Once Naruto was done placing his order, he took his leave. But before leaving, he turned to the girl to ask 2 more questions. I don't mean to be rude, but what's your name and who is going to making my sword? Asked Naruto. Oh, that would be me for both question. Tenten, do you have a problem with that? Asked the girl, which she started to get a frustrated look on her face. No, quite the opposite actually. After all, if my sword is being made by a strong and lovely young maiden such as yourself, then I know my sword is going to be just as strong and lovely. Smirked Naruto, as he started to walk away. Naturally, when Tenten heard Naruto called her lovely, she started to blush red, which made her lose focus for a moment, but was brought back when one of the shinobi customers asked to purchase a couple of kunais. Tenten snapped herself back to reality to take care of the customer, but couldn't help but wonder on who was the person in the hood and made a mental note to ask him on whom he is. After Naruto left Tenten's weapons shop, he continues on his walk around Konoha. It took over 20 minutes until he finally found a bakery. He stepped inside to see that they have a nice selection of bread and stuff that were similar when he visited Japan a couple of years ago. Of course, when he checked around, he saw that was all they have. He decided to make trade to use their kitchen, but also make this bakery boom in business, which of course, he decided to give other bakeries a chance with other recipes so not to let them go on their business. Naruto called for the person in charge, which he made his negotiation towards the head baker. The baker was skeptic on the deal that Naruto would give him a new recipe that would help boom their business some more. Once Naruto was in the bakery, he went to work really fast, since he knows that he doesn't have much time. I'll skip the baking process. Later. After an hour or more in the bakery, Naruto left the shop with a box filled with one of his favorite dishes that he makes, tiramisu. When he let the head baker taste it, he was so surprised, along with his staff. Once Naruto gave him the recipe, they called it even for the use of the kitchen. Naturally, Naruto heard that the bakery would add this into the list, saying they would bring it out tomorrow, but Naruto explained that it needed to be kept in cool temperature to last long once it was done, which the head baker agreed. Naruto walked in the streets, but as he was walking, he also made sure to be as casual as possible, since for a while now, he noticed that there were several ninja tracking him. He had to admit that they were skilled in hiding their presence, but if it wasn't for all the times of being hunted down and such, along with Kurama's power, he wouldn't have noticed them. He quickly decided to ditch them as fast as possible, where he went to a narrow pathway that would lead him to another street. Once he sensed that they were going around the building to keeping an eye on him, he decided to get out of there quickly by using his Kageo Toshio Yuso, teleportation by shadow. He went through the wall without anyone noticing and disappeared into another part of the village. When the shinobi didn't see him come out, they checked to see that he has disappeared right through them. They naturally spread out to find him since they believed he could be a threat. Naruto, on the other hand, simply looked on from the top of his father's head at the Hokage mountain, to see that he was pretty good at giving them the slip. He also wondered on who were those shinobis. He then remembered on what the third told him. Flashback. Naruto, from everything you have done, I don't doubt that you are a Kage LV shinobi. Your skills in espionage are indeed incredible. In fact, you surpass even the Umbu Black Ops from my observation. The Sandaime proudly stated. Umbu? Questioned Naruto. Oh, the Umbu Black Ops are a special type of shinobi, as you know, does Black Op missions, answered the third. So there is only one type of Umbu in Konoha? Asked Naruto. No, there was once another one, but I had that one disband before your father took the role as the Yandami, since it was really dangerous, especially its leader. Naruto, promise me if anything, don't let yourself go anywhere near the old root shinobi and its former leader, Danzo, since he is a dangerous person if you don't know how to handle him alone. End flashback. Naruto guessed that they were surrounding him. Instead of just watching him, he thinks that they are from the old root program, which means that its former leader, Danzo, knows he is here. He decided to end his little sightseeing and go straight to his father, since he doesn't want to cause any trouble, even if trouble naturally comes to him. Academy. Naruto decided to take another route to the Hokage Tower since he thought that those Umbu ninjas, possibly thought root ninja, were still after him, especially for the stunt he just pulled in getting away from them without them knowing it. He teleported himself to the academy grounds, which he saw when he was on top of the mountain. He appeared behind some trees that were near the school building, away from anyone else to see him reappear from his teleportation. He looked around to see if anyone spotted him, but instead he spotted some young children practicing taijutsu. He then saw the teacher that was teaching the young children on taijutsu. Naruto was about to walk away when he overheard an interesting name. Alright, the first practice match will be Namikaze Uzumaki Erika vs. Naruto stopped when he heard Erika's name. He remembered that Kakashi informed him about his new little sister. He looked back to see a young girl with long red hair that reached her waist. Her face was round, just like when he was young, but had gray eyes. She wore a standard Kunoichi uniform for someone her age. Naruto noticed that she was going to spar with a boy, who only smirked at seeing that he was fighting his little sister. Naruto focused his ears on what they were talking about. HP mate, you may be the Yandame's daughter, but I'm the strongest guy you'll ever meet, and one day I'll be Hokage, said boy. Oh please, would you just shut up, you jerk? I don't want to hear your annoying voice. Besides, if anyone is going to be Hokage after my dad, it is going to be me or my brother, stated Erika. This got everyone surprised since Erika said something that no one's supposed to know just yet. The sensei decided to speak. Erika-san, are you saying you're going to have a baby brother? Asked the sensei. Yeah, Erika-sensei, sorts of, and even if this jerk is a good enough to be shinobi, my brother can beat him up just like I can. Erika nervously explained, even though she knew she was going to be in trouble now. Everyone in the class was now chattering at the thought that the Yandame Hokage and his wife were going to have another kid, while Erika's opponent looked mad at her. For that insult, I'm going to break your face, you tomato, the boy insulted. Naruto admired at how strong-willed Erika was. But once he saw them take their fighting stance, he saw that Erika had openings, which the other kid had as well. He, of course, could understand that since they were still just children, but he didn't want to see his baby sister get hurt, so he decided to act like a big brother, like Nagi was to him, and help her out. Naruto used his magic to teleport himself through the shadows just below Erika's feet. Before the match began, Naruto touched Erika's toe through her open shinobi sandal without anyone knowing. Erika was surprised to feel something touching her foot, but when she looked down, she saw nothing except her toes. Once the match started, he watched for a moment, to see what she can do. Both children were even for a bit of time, until he saw that one of the boy's friends, in the sidelines, distract the teacher in charge. The boy that Erika was fighting used this opportunity to blind Erika by throwing some dirt at her eyes. Erika winced a bit as the dirt hit her eyes, causing her to go blind. The boy decided to take advantage of the situation to beat Erika up and put her in her place. Naruto frowned since he saw what the boy and his friend did, which he didn't like cheap shots like that. Naruto then decided that it was time to put the boy in his place, since no hurts his little sister. Right before Erika was going to be kicked in the head by a side kick, she heard a voice saying, "Duck." What? Thought Erika, until she heard it again, but saying, "Duck now or you're going to get to receive a bad headache." Erika did what the voice told her to do, which she was able to duck from the boy's kick. She then heard quick, leg sweep then spin to do a front kick. Erika did what she was told to do, which she tripped the boy, making him go off balance, then spun her body around, just in time to kick at the boy's ribs hard. The boy was sent flying before hitting the ground, which he was now holding his side. It was then that the match ended, which every girl cheered for Erika, as well as some of the boys. The boy that Erika beat was in pain, since Erika kicked him hard, which damages his ribs. The boy's friends glared at her, which she didn't back down from. After which, she began to wonder on what the strange voice was, since when she looked around to see if anyone was around, she saw that there was no one else in the academy training ground besides her teachers and classmates. At that exact time, Naruto was walking out of the academy grounds with a smile, since he, for the first of many, had helped his little sister out when she was in trouble. Once he made it to the streets, he quickly went to the Hokage Tower. Minato's office. Minato and Kushina were completely stunned on what Kakashi told them. At first, they thought that Kakashi must have hit his head or something, but from what he told them that Naruto had told him, it couldn't be a lie. To think that our baby boy of 12 years ago is now 17-year-old young man 17, said Kushina. Yeah, but how can he be 17 when he is supposing to 12 years old? Questioned Minato. Kakashi decided to speak about it. From what Naruto and I were able to come up with, we both thought that the world that he was in, time was a little faster than ours, so he grew up a little more quicker, or he was sent back in time and started growing up 5 years earlier from when he was supposed to be born, but in another world. Even though both Minato and Kushina were glad to know that Naruto was here now, they were a bit upset since Naruto is basically all grown up and ready to live on his own. Minato sighed for a moment before speaking. Well, even though he is old enough to be on his own, he is still our son. And let's just be thankful that he is safe and sound now, smiled Minato. Kushina nodded in agreement, since even though Naruto is now a young adult, he was still her baby boy, and in her heart, he will always be. Kushina then heard Minato say that it's best to look for him now while Erika was in school. Kushina nodded in agreement, but was stopped when someone knocked on the door. Minato allowed the person to come in. Once the person opens the door and started to walk in, Kushina and Minato were stunned to see who it was. With Naruto. Naruto made it to the Hokage Tower with no further incident, since he could feel that there wasn't anyone else looking at him. He would have gone into the front door, but saw a few shinobi and such in front of him. He decided to just slip by them by teleporting through the shadows again. Once he made it inside the tower, he began to look around and sense where Kakashi's presence was located. He phased through the tower walls to be in the front door of an office. Before he knocked on the door, he heard another man's voice in the room. When he heard that he was glad that Naruto was safe while growing up, he knew that the person talking was his father. It was then that he knocked on the door and entered once he was allowed. He took off his hood to reveal his face, which he then opened the door and walked into the office. Normal P.V. Naruto walked inside the office to see Kakashi in front of him. Behind Kakashi, he was able to see two other people. The first was the man that was sitting behind the desk. He saw that this man almost looked just like him, but looked like he was in his mid-30s. He had blonde spiky hair, and blue eyes just like him, but his face was a bit narrower than his. He then looked to his left to see an attractive woman was standing next to him. He saw that the woman was around the same age as the man. She had long red crimson hair that reached past her waist. She had gray eyes and a round face like his. When Naruto saw these two, he felt how happy that they were looking at him, whom he smiled since he knew that these two were his parents. Kushina and Minato couldn't believe on whom the person that they were looking at now. Minato and Kushina could see that he took a lot from Kushina in the facial, but had Minato's looks. They can tell he was about a head smaller than Minato, while being close to Kushina's height. All three of them were having their own internal battle, but Kushina was the one who cleared her mind first and went to face him. Aryu, Kushina said before Naruto interrupted her when he spoke up. Yan Namikaze Uzumkai Naruto, formerly known as Thomas Springfield. It's nice to meet you, mother. With a similar smile that was just like Minato. This is what Kushina wanted to hear. She quickly grabbed and gave Naruto a strong hug with all her heart and feelings pouring into it. Naruto could feel the warmth, the same warmth that his other mother had given him, the warmth of love and happiness. Naruto returned the hug, which he felt his mother starting to cry loudly, knowing and loving feeling that she was letting out of her soul as well as releasing the pain from losing him after so long. Naruto thought happily, I kept my promise, mother. Minato and Kakashi were at the sidelines as Kushina was reuniting the bond that was severed so long ago. After a few moments of hugging, Kushina and Naruto let go of each other's embrace. He then looked at his father, which he had already walked around his desk to greet him. At first, it was an awkward moment for the both of them. Naruto held out his hand and said, father. Minato then said, hey, son. With a smile. They both shook hands, but then turned it to a bear hug. Kakashi took this moment to leave the family alone to allow them to reform the bond that was severed be tied once again. Once Kakashi left, Minato, Kushina took another look at Naruto to see that he isn't an illusion. After the warm greeting, all of them decided to take a seat. After they sat, Minato wanted to ask Naruto about some things, as well as Kushina, but before they can, Naruto spoke up first. I bet you have a ton of questions for me, as I can guess that Kakashi must have told you on what I told him. In his British accent. Minato nodded agreement. Yes, I'm just as curious on knowing on what happened to you, especially since you may have awakened the possibility of bloodline limit that doesn't come from any of our family. Oh, you mean my ability to manipulate and use metal, huh? Naruto laughed nervously. Minato and Kushina were very curious to see since Kakashi explained in detail on how incredible Naruto created and wielded his swords, which Naruto told them that it was a special ability that only he can do since it requires something special, magic, along with something else. Kushina nodded in understanding, but was still curious on how he can use it since she's a Kenjutsu master. Minato wanted to know on how he got the ability, but Naruto told him that he can't tell him just yet since he would like to keep it as well as a few things about himself to still remain a secret for a little while longer. Minato and Kushina didn't look too pleased about it, which he just sighed out loud. I wish the old man was here right now, he can at least convince you guys to not to worry too much. Muttered. Kushina was confused until Minato spoke up. Old man? You mean the Sandaime Hokage, right? Yeah, the old man has really been looking out for me as he taught me a lot on how to use chakra, as well as told me a lot about Konoha and its laws. Of course, that is what laws he knew at the time, answered Naruto. Minato and Kushina were happy to know that Naruto knows how to use chakra and all about Konoha thanks to the Sandaime. But of course, they were more worried about where Naruto has been, which they wanted to know since they searched everywhere to find him to just find out that he was in another world. That, Naruto had no problem explaining, since what he wanted to keep to himself was his strength and power because it might cause problems for him and his family. That is why he wanted to keep his abilities a secret until the Chunin exam, since once people knew that he, the Sandaime Hokage's son, has returned, people are going to come after him for one reason or another. Naruto explained that he lived with his adopted mother and brothers in Wales, England, from another world. He explained that the village he lived in was a peaceful and beautiful place that was near the mountains and hills, similar to Konoha, but it was greener and housing was different, and the climate was a little colder. Kushina was happy to hear that her son got to live peacefully, and was found by a loving family that took him in and raised him like he was one of their own. Naruto brought out his letters to show his parents on what his adoptive mother looked like. When Naruto showed them, both Kushina and Minato were amazed on how young and beautiful she is. Her name is Sabrina Springfield, and she's my mom. Kushina couldn't help but look at this woman with jealousy since Sabrina got to see her son, Naruto, grow up before her eyes alongside her own children. I wish I could meet her. I want to be able to thank her for raising you when you were taken from us, said Kushina. Naruto just looked down when Kushina said that she wanted to meet his other mother. It was then that Minato and Kushina saw the look of hurt on their son's eyes and face, which they were going to ask, but Naruto spoke first. Yeah, I wish I can too, but sadly you can't. She passed away when I was 9. Sadly spoken. Both were taken back a bit on what Naruto said since the both of them really wanted to meet her, to thank her for everything she has done for them and their son, but were saddened when Naruto said that she has passed away. Right before they can say anything else, a female Umbu came into the office in a hurry. Naruto covered his face with his hood, which Minato and Kushina were curious about. Unfortunately, before they can ask, the Umbu spoke. Hokage-sama, the council has requested your presence for an emergency high council meeting. Minato sighed. What's the emergency meeting about? I don't know, they just said it's about some stranger that has entered the village a little while ago. The reason that this is priority is because this person was able to escape the eyes of the Umbu ops with such ease. The thing that we were able to figure out is he is wearing a brown worn-down cloak that was severely ripped in the back with a hood covering most of his face like that. When the Umbu answered, pointing at the person next to the Sandaime. It was at this moment that the Umbu noticed Naruto's covered face, which at that moment, the Umbu quickly drew her sword and ready to strike. Kushina and Minato were about to stop her, but before anyone knew it, Naruto was behind the female Umbu with his arms crossed that his cloak sleeves covered them, which he only smiled. Does the fair maiden mind sheathing her sword since I don't need to put a lovely woman in the hospital? Naruto softly spoke. Everyone was surprised on how fast Naruto moved. Before the Umbu could do anything, Minato ordered her to stand down to tell her that he wasn't a threat and that he will go see the council in a bit. The Umbu left the Hokage's office to inform the council with a bit of hesitation, but wondered on who this hooded person is. The council. I remember what the old man said about how annoying the Kusal can be. Well, to be more precise, the civilian side and the 3 geezers that think they're big shots or something, Naruto said, as he looked at spot where the Umbu member phases in and out. Kushina and Minato were impressed on how fast Naruto moved from one spot to behind one of their Umbu members, who is one of Kushina's former students. I really wish I don't have to deal with them since they are always complaining to about any little stuff, complained Minato. Then how about we have a little fun with them then? After all, an Uzumaki and Namikaze might cause them some trouble. However, a fully grown heir to both the clan names is the biggest trouble they would ever want to meet, smiled Naruto. Kushina smiled since one of her favorite things to do is to cause the civilian side of the council trouble, while Minato thought that Naruto has indeed Kushina's son since his personality is almost exactly like Kushina's. The council chambers. The council room, where all of Konoha's politics is done, is a huge oval room about 3 times bigger than Minato's oval office. In the center lied Konoha's leaf symbol. Near the wall was the council tables, which gone around in almost a complete circle with a large opening that would allow the people to come in and out of the center. In front of the tables, the double doors that allowed entrance/exit to people were located. In the far back, in the middle of the table was where the Hokage stood at the top of the stand so that everyone can look at him. Currently in the chamber, the civilian Kusal was seated in the right side on the chamber doors, while on the left side was shinobi clan heads. Near the shinobi sides were 3 Umbu captains, and finally on the left side, next to civilians, were Hamura, Koharu and Danzo, the shinobi elders. As everyone waited for Minato, the shinobi heads looked annoyed since they were only brought here by the civilians or elders cause of something that didn't involve the civilians. After waiting for a few more minutes, Minato and Kushina, who is here to watch, came into the chamber and went to their seating arrangement, which Minato took the stand that overlooked everyone. Alright, what is the meaning of this meeting about? Minato said annoyingly. Hokage-sama, we are here to talk about an important matter that could cause the safety of the village, said one civilian. And what would that be? Asked Minato. We are here to talk about the recent completed mission of Sasuke Uchiha, said another civilian. Minato grinned to himself since he knew how much the civilian Kusal wanted Sasuke to revive the Uchiha clan for the Sharingan. He, of course, found it annoying as well as the other shinobi heads cause they would often talk about it for a long time. One of the reasons Minato finds the council annoying and troubling is because they wanted Sasuke to marry Erika, his daughter, and Hinata once they are old enough to get married since they believe that Erika would help bear strong children. Naturally, Minato is against the idea, but the civilian side isn't one to give up so easily because they usually bring up the subject every couple of meetings. He had a guess that the civilian side wanted to be in Sasuke's favor, so, if Erika and Sasuke do get married, the civilians could probably take some of the wealth that his family have for themselves. Hayashi was also annoyed about the civilians' council plan on getting his daughter to marry Sasuke, since beside popular belief, Hayashi loved both his daughters and didn't like it on how they wanted him to force her to marry the last Uchiha of Konoha. Minato explained to them on what happened in Nami no Kuni on how Sasuke was able to awaken his Sharingan. Naturally, the civilian sides were pleased to hear the news, while others just nodded about it. He finished it up by telling them that the mission was complete when Gato was killed and that the bridge was completed. With that, Minato completed the report and was going to adjourn the meeting when Danzo spoke up. Hokage-sama, this meeting isn't quite finished just yet. The council was wondering on what Danzo wanted to talk about, but Minato had a guess since he guessed that Kakashi's student, Sai, one of Danzo men, informed him about what happened in Nami no Kuni. What is it you wanted to talk about? Asked Minato. About the boy that killed Gato, who defeated nearly 100 thugs without moving from a single spot, on the boy that is walking in Konoha right now, who was able to escape the Umbu Black Op watchful on him with ease, answered Danzo. Everyone was surprised to hear from Danzo that there was a person who not only saved Kakashi in Team 7, but defeated Zabuza as well as 100 thugs by himself. But the thing that got them interested was the fact that the boy had used a new type of bloodline which he created and wielded steel. The council wondered on whom this person was and why the Yondaime didn't tell them about it. Before anyone could say something, Minato spoke up. Oh, that boy, don't worry about him, he is alright. Minato calmly explained. You aren't worried about him like the rest of us? Asked Koharu. I was going to explain it to everyone later on, but not until I know myself, since I still don't know the whole story, which is why I was trying to find out when you people called me here, stated Minato. Well, if you're investigating the boy, then we can assume that you will be able to make him talk on how he was able to create and wield steel like how the Nidaime was able to wield his water abilities, asked Hamura. Before Minato can answer that, Danzo spoke. Maybe it is best if you hand him over to me. I can make the boy talk and get him to explain all his secrets to us. After all, no one will know he is missing. Minato was going to yell, while Kushina looked like she was ready to kill, but before anyone can say anything, everyone heard a voice coming behind Danzo. So you're the decrepit old man that the GG had told me about. He was right, you're nothing more than annoyance. Everyone turned to look to see that there was no one behind Danzo. Danzo was wondering on what was going on, especially since he definitely felt a presence behind him. Before they can wonder on who said that, they all heard the voice again. If you're all looking for me, I'm right over here. This time, everyone turned to look at the center of the room to see a young man, wearing an old worn-out cloak with long sleeves and a hood covering his face. The only thing that they can see visually on his face was a smile. After the surprising moment, one of the civilian members spoke. Who are you? And what are you doing in here? Naruto looked around to see who he was going to talk to. He was able to recognize the clan heads, which the Sandaime had told him about, while looking over at the civilian side to see what kind of annoying people he was going to enjoy making fun of. My name is none of your concern, you misully little worm, answered Naruto. This got the council member angry since he was insulted like he was nobody important. He then spoke, "Why you little brat Umbu? Arrest this brat for his defiance." The Umbu in the chamber were a little hesitant since they only follow orders by the Hokage, but then Danzo gave a silent signal order, which one of them followed. The Umbu then came up behind Naruto and was going to knock him out. Minato was about to order him to stop, but couldn't say it fast enough. Just before the Umbu could knock Naruto out of nowhere a dozen or more blades shot out from the ground, surrounded the Umbu agent before he can hit Naruto. The steel blades were covered in a thin red aura and went as high as 8 feet. 2 of the blades that popped out cut the Umbu's face mask in half, while also cutting a bit of his forehead to let it bleed a little, while the other one was at his neck, ready to pierce right through it. Everyone was surprised on how fast those blades came out. Minato had to admit that it was an impressive feat since he has never seen anything like that, while Kushina just smiled on what Naruto just did. Naruto turned to Umbu Black Op. "Hey buddy, how about you wait for my father's order before you start getting yourself inside a sticky situation, alright?" When Naruto said to wait for his father's order, everyone was wondering on what he meant. This is when Minato took the stage. "Everyone, allow me to introduce to you all, the heir to both the Namikaze/Uzumaki clans, my long-lost son, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze." With that, Naruto removed the hood that was covering his face. Once he took off his hood, everyone saw his face. They were astonished to see almost an exact copy of Minato when he was younger. Before the Kusal can start shouting about Naruto being his son since they never knew about it, civilian side only, Minato spoke up. "Now the reason on why I never told you about my son was because of his safety since he was taken from Kushina and me on the night of Kyuubi attack." Minato explained on what happened on that dreadful night on once the Kyuubi was defeated. Naruto simply vanished into thin air, which he and only his most trusted friends agreed to be on the lookout for any clue on where he was located. Many on the council couldn't believe on what they were hearing, but only on the civilian side since all of the clan heads that Minato knew were his friends and only they knew with a few of their most trusted clan members knew about Minato having a son first before Erika. Of course they weren't the only one that knew of Naruto's existence, since the shinobi elders also knew cause they also know on the what happened that night and knew that Naruto was now the new Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Yoko, thanks to the Sarutobi. After Naruto's existence was revealed to the council, the civilian side took this news as troublesome cause with Naruto being here, their own plans were also in trouble. With Naruto being here, the Namikaze/Uzumaki fortune would go to him when he is ready, not to mention the hopes on gaining favors with the Uchiha clan since the marriage with Erika to get to the family was completely gone. There were so many things that the civilian side had plans for the power and fortune, but now with Naruto, that was now gone. It was then that a woman, from the civilian side, with long pink hair, darker than Sakura's, spoke up. "Hokage-sama, this is indeed a great event for you and Kushina that your son has returned." "Thank you, Saya Haruna," Minato said, even though he knows that Saya doesn't really mean it since it was no secret to everyone that she was in love with Minato. For years when Minato was young, Saya had tried hard to win Minato over so they can get married together. When Minato had become the legendary Yellow Flash and was soon announced to be the Yondaime Hokage, she would blab about it, saying, "I am going to be Ms. Saya Namikaze." But when she found out that Minato had secretly dating and was now marrying Kushina, the one she always called Tomato, it made her so angry since she couldn't believe that the outcast became the Yondaime Hokage's wife, along with all the pleasantries along with it. In fact, after the Kyuubi attacked, Saya tried to get to Minato to be with her, thinking that Kushina was killed since she hasn't seen her after the attack, but was surprised to know that Kushina was still alive and well, which angered her. Before Minato can explain, Naruto spoke up loudly, "The old man was right, you guys from the civilian side are nothing more than annoyance." The way Naruto was talking to the civilian side in his British accent was annoying to the council, but to know that they were being insulted that didn't sit too well with the civilians. It was then that a fat, older civilian member spoke up. "How dare you insult us, boy? If I were you I'd be quiet and tell us who this old man you are speaking about." Naruto just smirked when he said, "Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage." Many couldn't believe that Naruto was talking about the Sandaime Hokage, which they would have argued about it. "Impossible, the Sandaime is dead, there is no way you could have known him," said another civilian council member. "Wrong about that, he lived inside me for all that time. In fact, it wasn't until a few years ago that I was able to free him and started to work with me and my brother. I must say, he had his moment on fun, especially when he helped me and brother's team with his wisdom of combat," Naruto stated. The civilians would have continued to argue, but was stopped when Naruto said, "And like I was saying, he was right to say that civilian council are nothing more than annoying that goes double to the old hag and 2 fossils that are sitting right next to you, Hamura, Koharu, and Danzo were ticked off, even if they didn't show it, but was peeved to know that Naruto was saying something that Hiruzen wasn't able to say to them in front of their faces. Their annoyance continued to grow when Naruto continued speaking. Yeah, he was always saying that those three should just retire now, how they don't know what the current events on the world is going, how they should just leave my father alone with the task on maintaining Konoha, like he entrusted him to. He always kept yapping about that stuff, smiling and laughing at how the Sandaime always told him about the annoying civilian council. The shinobi side of the council couldn't help but smile, snort or smirk on the way Naruto was making fun of the civilian side, along with the elders, since they also find them pretty annoying as well. They especially enjoyed the fact that he isn't scared of them, and just continued to make fun of them. After a bit, Naruto just stopped when he looked at the civilian side to see them all red in the face. Once he had Finside speaking, Minato was about to call this meeting to a close, when Danzo spoke again. Hokage-sama, even though your son's arrival was a surprise to us, which many could agree, it is still a great event since now we have the Kyuubi on our side once again, Danzo said with a smirk. Many of the civilians wondered on what Danzo meant. Danzo explained that after the Kyuubi attack, he went to search for Naruto because he was Konoha's secret weapon. Minato and Kushina just narrowed their eyes since they knew that Danzo wanted Naruto to be his weapon, like he wanted Kushina to be as well if it wasn't for the Sandaime, and would have never returned Naruto to them unless he was under his complete command. Naruto could sense what Danzo's true intentions since he trained hard enough to know what a person's true feelings are really saying about them. Once Danzo finished speaking, the civilian looked at Naruto with their eyes narrowed and such. Naruto could feel the hatred, fear, and other negative emotion coming from them, while he sensed the shinobi clans didn't really care about the fact that Naruto was the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi no Yoko. Kushina, Minato, and Naruto guessed that Danzo wanted to get the civilians to help vote that he be put under Danzo care and training where he could make him his weapon, but before anything can be said, Naruto said, "So what's the big deal? The Sandaime trained me pretty well on using chakra and any type of jutsu that he was able to teach me, though he was a ghostly figure that pops out when he wants to, so there is no problem." Naruto smiled. This was something that Danzo didn't suspected, to know that the Sandaime has already trained him in his shinobi way. Before things get out of hand, Minato spoke up. "Even though it is true that Naruto is the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi, he is still my son, and still my heir to my family and clan." With that, Minato ended the meeting, but before that, Naruto said that he would like to join Konoha as a shinobi, which he would like to start off as a genin since he doesn't want special treatment. Minato agreed since Naruto has already proved that he well trained. Minato also said that he is going to announce Naruto's existence to Konoha later on, which Naruto didn't like cause of one reason: fangirls. He remembered, when he was back home in England or the magical world or any place, for that matter, that he goes to, the girls were always chasing after him. Next to his brother Nagi, he was a total babe magnet, which he found annoying after a while. Once the meeting was over, Minato and Kushina decided to take Naruto to let him, officially, meet his younger sister, Erika, for the first time. Streets. Currently walking in the streets, Minato and Kushina were making their way towards the academy. Of course, as always, the citizens and shinobi that they passed by always greeted them with respect, but today was different. Walking behind the Hokage and his wife was a stranger that eerily looks like the Yondaime Hokage but had whisker marks on his cheeks. As they walked, the people were wondering on who this mysterious person is, but saw that he was smiling as he walked behind Minato and Kushina. Kushina turned her head around to talk to Naruto. "Naruto-chan, are you nervous in any way? Are the citizens' stares making you feel uncomfortable?" asked Kushina, since she thought that Naruto might find it weird since a lot of people were staring at him. Naruto nodded no. "Nah, I'd have the same problem back where I came from. You won't believe how many girls and women wanted my autograph or wanted me to go on a date with. But I guess it's bound to happen considering how I looked father here," smiled Naruto. Kushina was glad to know that her son wasn't nervous about the villagers looking at him. But what Naruto said made her feel a bit uneasy since what he said was true. Naruto looked almost identical to Minato, that she remembered all the girls that tried to get him to go out with him, even though by that time, she and him were already dating. She then thought about the girls in the village would react when they hear about Naruto, as well as taking what he said to account, that her son would be hounded by a lot of fangirls and such, that it made her upset, as well as angry. "If those floozies think they're going to try and seduce my little boy, they're going to have to go through me to do it. Oh, why am I dealing with this situation? Naruto-chan should be a 12-year-old boy, not a 17-year-old young man. This is too early for me to handle these annoying situations." Kushina thought as the thought of her son dating some sorry excuse of a was while thinking that Kushina remembered something else and spoke to Minato about it. "Hey Minato, did you send a message to Jiraiya-sama and Tsunade-sensei about Naruto?" whispered Kushina. Yes, I did. I sent them out yesterday since I figured it would be a good idea for the both of us and Erika to have some quality time with Naruto before they arrive to meet him, answered Minato. Oh, that's good, but right now, I'm more worried about Erika, Kushina stated. Why's that? Asked Minato. Well, this will be the first time that she'll be seeing her older brother. A couple of days ago, when we told her, she didn't know that she had one. Now, as I think about it, I can swear that she was happy at first but then started to acting sad about something. I think she thinks that we love Naruto more than her or something. She was even somewhat happy and depressed when I told her that he will arrive today, replied Kushina. Minato closed her eyes and started to think about the situation. He nodded in understanding. I won't be surprised after all we have kept this a secret from her all her life and to know that for these years that she had an older brother this entire time. But now thinking about it, she might feel that way, Kushina, no matter what. Even though Naruto is back, it doesn't change how we feel for her. No matter what, Naruto will be our first child, but Erika will always be our little princess, smiled Minato, before saying, well, like Naruto, we'll just have to deal with this one step at a time as a family. Which Kushina nodded in agreement. All three made it to the academy entrance gate right when they were letting out the small children to go home for the day. As they made it to the front gate, all the parents greeted the yondaime and his wife, while also wondering and whispering to themselves about the boy that looks like Minato. As all three of them waited, Minato and Kushina were beginning to get nervous since they don't really know what their children's first meeting would be like. As they were waiting, Naruto sensed something was wrong, which he politely excused himself to his parents that he would be right back. They wondered on what was wrong, but Naruto left to go to the other side of the school. Naruto went around to school since he can sense Erika's life force was back there. After taming Kurama, Naruto had trained himself in sensing any presence he felt like, without relying on Kurama's power. He went around the school to see his sister behind some trees and bushes, a hidden spot that many would have a difficulty to spot them from. He saw Erika put her hand on the back of boy with a long scarf around his neck. Naruto can tell that he was helping her, which he saw the same boy with some of his friends along with him. He then overheard his sister yell out, "Why don't you creeps just leave us alone already? Why should you embarrass me in our sparring match today, and for that I'm going to make you pay, tomato," sneered he boy. His friends all laughed and chuckled at Erika's nickname. It was then that the boy with the scarf stood up against the leader. "Just leave her alone, she the yondaime's daughter, you should respect her." "Konoha Maru-san," said Erika. "Why should we, since she is just a girl? After all, your grandfather is dead, right? Sandaime Hokage's grandson," said another. When Naruto overheard one of the punk kids say that Konohamaru was the old man's grandson, Naruto knew that he would have to talk to him about the Sandaime since he would like it. "Yeah, my mom and dad also told me that her mom is an outsider, which means that she is also an outsider. She doesn't belong here after all, look at her red hair. It's a freak," said another boy, which his other friends started to laugh with him. Erika had heard enough insults about her and her mom. It was then that she leapt and punched the boy straight at the face. It was then that a genin came out behind a tree and into the opening. Naruto heard that the genin was going to get payback for hurting and embarrassing his little brother, which he then stated that he was going to be the next Hokage and probably have Erika as his little prize, since he compared Erika's looks as beautiful as her mother, Kushina, when Erika grew up. They were about to give a beating, which Konohamaru and Erika were about to defend themselves against. It was then that a dozen crimson-covered blades shot out of the ground and subdued the bullies and genin, while also giving them all shallow cuts around their whole bodies. Erika and Konohamaru were in awe, while the bullies and genin were wondered on what's going on. It was then they heard someone behind them saying, "You know, all of you made two mistakes. The first one is that you actually believe that you can become Hokage if you are bullying a little girl. That's a laugh, since if you become Hokage, then I Kami himself. The second mistake, you arrogant pricks, did you were going to hit a little girl, which she is also my little sister," Naruto said with killing intent. Everyone turned around to see a teenage boy that looked like the Yondaime Hokage, except he had whisker marks on his cheeks. He had a serious face on him that wasn't to please to see, especially now since he was in Big Brother mode. Before they can say anything, Naruto spoke. "Now if you ever go near my little sister again for such silly reasons, I'm going to use my blades right here and slice of the thing that any man doesn't want to be sliced off. And I don't care on how small it may be." The bullies were now afraid since he adds to his threat, when they saw his blades act like snakes slithering between the boys' groin and were ready to slice off their most valuable body part, just to prove a point. They all agreed and, which Naruto pulled back his blades back into the ground, which all the boys left running terrified from Naruto's attack, leaving Konohamaru and Erika alone to face him. Konohamaru looked scared since this guy just came out of nowhere, and used some kind of weird jutsu to create blades from out of nowhere to save him and Erika from a beating. Erika looked at the person in front of her that looked like her father. She then remembered him saying that she is his little sister. It was then she remembered that her mother told her that her long-lost brother was coming back home today. As she looked at him with amazement in her eyes, he smiled at her, showing that he was nice. Erika couldn't believe that this person in front of her was her big brother. Before she can say anything, Konohamaru stepped between them in a defensive stance. Konohamaru was going to say something, but Naruto patted his head and spoke. So you're the old man's grandson. I bet he'd be proud on the way you defended my little sister like that. How about you go home and take care of any of those injuries? I'll take care of her from this point, alright. Naruto smiled. Konohamaru and Erika just gasped on what Naruto said. Erika just walked around Konohamaru to stare at Naruto. She looked at him with wide eyes to see that his eyes were kind and warm, like her father. It was then that she knew who he was. Why you're my brother? Said Erika. Naruto just nodded, which he kneeled down on one knee for her to get an even better look at him. Erika just thought, he's my brother, my big brother. Erika just then went up to him and hugged him and said, welcome home, big brother. Naruto just accepted the hug and smiled as he returned it to her. Konohamaru just watched on the sidelines, which he then saw Naruto looking at him and mouthing off, go home, get your injuries treated, and I'll tell my dad about this. Konohamaru silently took his leave. Minato and Kushina were waiting outside at the gate with the other parents, which some talked to them about something. Just then, they heard a group of boys and a genin running away with scratch and slice marks that were shallow all over their bodies. As they ran, the parents and children looked back to see a cute scene. Naruto was walking towards his parents, but saw that he was carrying Erika on his chest, which Erika just had her arms around his neck and she was being supported by Naruto holding her in his arms. Once Naruto made it in front of his parents, he looked at them and said, so, should we go home or out for dinner? Naruto smiled. Namake's mansion. Naruto was amazed on what his family's home looks like. From his point of view, it was an alright house since he can't help but compare it to the castles and towers he has been in the magical world as well as his team's special home that he made. He guessed that this place has about 10 rooms, adding the second floor, a couple of bathrooms, a nice kitchen as well as a training area in the backyard. All in all, it was a nice place. Standing next to him was his little sister Erika, while Minato and Kushina were in front of him greeting him to his new home. It's very generous on welcoming me here and giving me a room, but I think it is best that I live on my own, said Naruto. Why do you want to do that, Naruto-chan? It's been 12 years since I held you in my arms and now you want to leave already. Kushina cried out with tears starting to form on her face. Nah, it's not that. Well, it's just it has been 12 years for you, but it's been 17 for me. I'm old enough to live on my own now, you know, said Naruto. Minato nodded in agreement, because he could understand on what Naruto was saying since when he was Naruto's age, he wanted to be independent and live on his own. Of course, he also understood Kushina's feelings about this, because even though she had Erika, she wanted to raise both her children together. Minato spoke up, Kushina getting everyone's attention. Please understand that our little boy is almost a fully grown man even though we've already missed a lot of his life and you want him to stay with us to start catching up on what we missed. It doesn't mean that we should forget that he is his own person now, who is responsible and mature young man. So please, Kushi tried to understand where he is coming from as well. Kushina wanted to retort, but she knew that Minato was right, since in front of her, she is not seeing the little baby boy that she held in her arms 12 years ago, but now a fully grown young man. This was something that she has to get used to for now. Naruto spoke, thanks for understanding, father and mother. Even though I am going to be living on my own, it doesn't mean I can't come and visit you after all, no matter what, you still are my mother. Smiled Naruto. This made Kushina happy, but it was then that she felt like she has seen this smile from him before, as his words were reminding her of something that at one point, a few years ago, that completely made her so happy, that tears came out of her eyes, because at that one time she felt that her son was safe and happy. She shook off feeling, which she then asked Naruto to promise him to come by and visit every day when he is in the village, which he agreed since he also wanted to get to know his baby sister Erika as well. But before they can speak about it, Naruto did say something else. Even though I said that I wanted to stay on my own, I don't necessarily have any money to pay rent for an apartment, plus I need to start earning some cash in order to pay for my new sword that I've already commissioned on making. So even though I would like to live on my own, I would still like to take your offer on living here for a while. Kushina was happy to know that Naruto is going to live in their home for a little while, until he has enough to start paying rent for himself. She also insisted that they would buy him his new sword, which Naruto was grateful, but want to pay it for himself. Minato also agreed to buy the sword since he was curious, just like Kushina, on how good Naruto is in Kenjutsu, plus he wanted to make up for the birthdays they weren't there to celebrate with him. With that, Kushina quickly started to make some dinner, which Naruto quickly put the tiramisu in the refrigerator so they can have it for dessert. It was around 7 when dinner was made. During that time when dinner was being made, Naruto was enjoying some playtime with Erika, which Kushina smiled as she looked at from time to time as she saw one of her dreams coming true, while Minato helped out as well. As everyone was enjoying dinner, Naruto was enjoying this moment since he often wondered what his birth family acted like naturally. He was glad to know that his family was the same as his adopted family, which he was happy about. They talked about a lot of things. Of course it was a bit difficult for Minato, Kushina, and Erika to understand on what Naruto was saying since he was speaking in his British accent, but was glad when Naruto tried to explain to them an easier version so they can understand. In the end, the night was pretty good. Early morning. It was 7 in the morning as people started to wake. The shinobi of Konoha were already up and about since they not only have early morning training, but also missions to complete later on. Store owners were already starting to prepare to open their shops as they expect their business to be booming once it is mid-morning. Wives and mothers were also waking up to get their own families ready for the day to begin for them. For one wife and mother, this was a day of new beginnings since as of yesterday, her family was now complete. Walking down the halls of her home, with happiness all over her face was Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. Kushina woke up bright and early because of yesterday's events. As she walked down the hall, she can't help but giggle a bit as she was going to see one of the most adorable sights in her life. She walked down the hall and stopped at a room that was just across from her daughter's, Erika, room. The room she stopped was now designated as Naruto's room. She took a deep breath as she opened the door and quietly walked inside. The room was plain looking since her son had just moved in yesterday. She had planned on taking Erika and Naruto out for a shopping trip to decorate the room into something that Naruto would like. Her thoughts about decorating had changed when she saw the cutie's sight. In bed, Naruto was sleeping peacefully with the sheets covering below his waist. Naruto was currently wearing a loose, sleeveless, white tank shirt with gray sweatpants while still wearing his pendant around his neck. Kushina couldn't help but find it funny on how Naruto sleeps since he sleeps like Minato does sometimes, with one of his arms on his stomach while the other was above his head. His mouth open and closes gently as he snored softly and peacefully. The one thing that made this scene so adorable was the fact that Erika was sleeping right next to him. Erika slept right next to him with one hand attached to his body while she sucked on her thumb from the other hand. She wore her cute yellow PJs with her hair tied into a ponytail to keep it from getting too wild. Erika decided to sleep next to Naruto last night since she didn't want to wake up to find out that having older was a dream. Naruto was alright with it since it would bother him one bit. Kushina could help but smile as she saw both her children sleeping so peacefully, which is what she wanted to see for the longest time since, even though she knew that Erika was safe, she couldn't help but continue to worry about Naruto's safety since he wasn't here with her. After seeing them still sleeping, she quietly went to the window and opened it up slightly to let the sun wake them up. Once she did that, she quickly went out the room and headed for the kitchen to get breakfast ready. Once she was outside Naruto's room, she caught Minato, standing in front of her with his smiling face. "So Kushina, do you feel alright now? Do you feel worried about anything?" Minato asked.